Mental health and wellness is so important in the world of gaming.
For me, mental health is the most underrated thing.
It's important to take a break from that competition to reset yourself.
We're all kind of like an extended family. We have to look at each other like that could be my brother or my sister.
I promote
and practice positive mental health.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dropship for week number 4 of the ALGS Pro League. This is EMEA match day number 8, which means we're just about the halfway point of the Pro League here, past the halfway point. Teams gotta perform to break into that top 10 to qual, and the bottom 6 teams gotta perform to ensure that they don't get relegated in split number 2. I'm Fallout, joined alongside Vicky and Rain Day. The stakes are certainly high, my friends, as we welcome Rain Day back to the ALGS. Good to have you back on broadcast, my friend. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, baby. It's the first broadcast after summer. We were joking about it. I had a little bit extra PTO from the casters saved up, so I took a little bit of October, but we're back here ready to kick it back. So many of you great faces have been asking, and actually now, I get to enjoy what I've been watching on the sidelines, which has been by you, Fallout, by Vicky, by all the team here. Some incredible Apex Legends action. Just excited to be a part of it today with Day 8.
Absolutely. Great to have you back. Vicky, we're back. How you feel, my friend?
We are back. I'm feeling great. I'm here with Rain. We are going to kill it, and we're going to be able to see how these squads have adjusted in that short amount of time that they've had off. But we got some tournaments that have kind of taken up some of that space. So we got some new faces in some of these other squads. So we're going to see how those changes are going to play into day number 8.
That's right. We already saw it on day number 7. That was on Friday, and it was one heck of a day for EMEA. We saw Rebel with a must-perform game. They were in the bottom 6 in fear of being regulated. Had a huge day alongside Kick Esports and so many more. If you missed it, well, we got a recap video for you. Let's take a look at a recap from EMEA, day number 7.
Bubble's going to go down. Hierarcha's going to continue to push this one. Look at the aggression from Kick. Why weren't they in our teams to watch? We messed up.
The Q coming out of the Ashe. We were asking for the Ashe play. Rats is bringing it to us right now in spades, and they've been doing okay for themselves, but one does go down on Rats. Kick is actually going to be able to deal some good damage here towards the end. Alliance just going to watch it all go down and wait for their final moment to drop down and clean everything up, and this is looking like it's going to be Alliance's win.
Down though, and Brint from Invictus has found a corner to play for now, but it's looking a little bit uncomfortable. 789, who look like they might have been in a little bit of a tough spot, have survived for now as Destin goes huge, and now Kick Esports try and take on 789, and from looking like it was an unplayable situation, 789 holds strong.
Getting back to the bubble is going to be huge, and that's what they do. Getting the knock on to Pinky. It's just one more player remaining, and Alliance. Odin Gamers, tough fight. Great PK shots from Shades, and wow, he gets it done. It's just a matter of time, but a big play coming through the alternator hits, though, and the flatline turn. 180, Maestro Gaming ending that one in style.
Rebel now, they aim onto that. He'll get the first knock, and all of a sudden, this fight has completely turned on its head. Underrated, holding off the push coming in from Rebel, and Underrated will win the game.
Oh, the double kill with the Kraber. Landing directly in the middle here is a risky play. You have a handful of players in the vicinity. Nox gas grenade in hand. There's the enemy bubble, and that's what we were talking about. They don't have a bubble of their own, so they're just gonna go take the enemy one. Defenseman Bartman is laying on top of them, but they have the cover. Meanwhile, Cleve is taking a lot of damage. Vito! They know that there's a couple of rats here, but Base has to stay alive.
Oh, taking a lot of damage right now. Rebel, the team that got second place last time around, decided it was finally time to take home the win.
Rick's got a Kraber as well in the perfect time to go across.
Do what they can, maybe bubble out and just try and survive. That's exactly what they're going to do. They take a little bit of damage, but make a little bit of damage. There's a Caustic ulti as well, and Fenerbahce just wiped the floor with Alliance. and now it's all up to Exacko. He gets one. OJ Rain trying to do what he can as well. The Spitfire starts to sing as now Invictus Gaming get involved as well. Exacko goes up to the high ground, but it's going to be Invictus who survived the longest and will close out the final game of the day as your champions.
And there you have it. A major congratulations to Kick Esports. Going back-to-back this week, by the way. They won the Code Red tournament earlier this week. Kick Esports currently on fire. Invictus Gaming continues to perform as the rising stars of the ALGS Pro League. They've looked so strong. Rebel with a must-perform week, and Alliance doing Alliance things, placing top 4. It was a great day of action. Rain Day, what stands out to you the most watching that recap video?
You gotta say, Onset got me going with the siren song of the Spitfire singing. It's not a melody you want to hear because it'll lure you to sleep, and that'll be the eternal sleep, by the way. And one of the best parts about it was Bryn showcased himself as an upcoming star. We talk about Hardeki. There's so many of these Alliance Hawkins. There's so many of these like RPR and Matafe, these players who have stood out for a long time. Bryn hasn't had that moment yet, and now he's getting it, and that's what I love, the development of stars right under our eyes based on big-time performances throughout these weeks leading into playoffs. So what story will be told today? That's what I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, that's the super exciting part. And as a result of the action from day number 7, let's take a look at the overall standings for the ALGS Pro League in EMEA. Again, this is week number 4, so it's coming down to the wire here. Vicky, talk me through what you're seeing on screen.
Oh, I'm seeing these top 10 teams wanting to secure their spot in the playoffs. Of course, we have right now, we are in week number 4, Fallout, and it's exciting to see how some of these teams have still remained consistent. You got teams like Maestro, who just were able to perform right there in week number 4. This is the only other squad right next to Gambit that have been able to win more than 2 games in a week, but they need to keep that consistency if they want to maintain that first place spot. Looking at the performance that Kick were able to perform just on Friday.
Yeah, you see in those top 10s as well, there's several teams, probably 4 or 5 of the top 10 that haven't played yet. So that means it's time for A&D to maybe push some players, push some moments up in terms of that leaderboard. But when you look at some of these other teams, like 69IQ Esports will have a chance to see today. And not as Vincier, a kind of dark horse for me, who I saw play last week in an Arenas tournament. They have the potential with a big day this afternoon to actually change things up and maybe kick some of those teams out of the top 10 and put themselves in a position to qualify for playoffs. So it's going to be up to maybe a tried and true effort from Natus Vincier with a little bit more critical awareness of when to make their move that's going to solve that problem.
And we have our Group A versus D participating teams today. You mentioned Navi. I'm excited to see what they can do. But we got GMT, Nasky, Serdell, Badoli, who have had some good top 2 finishes. Of course, we got Gambit, the heavy hitters. We got Scars, Future Perfect, 69IQ, and their new roster. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. Zeta Division, La Cité France, who's been performing very well. This is a stacked roster and lineup here. A scary, scary lobby indeed in Group A versus D. But I want to take a moment to just mention, you see a blank spot at the bottom left of your screen. Well, why is that? We've had some changes in rosters and unfortunately a disbandment. Uwu Owo Catboys disbanded it, which means we will no longer have to say Uwu Owo Catboys as casters live on stream. But jokes aside, sad to see Lemic, Crip, and Vakes go. We're not going to see them for the rest of the LGS Pro League, but hopefully they bounce back with new rosters in split number 2. But continuing through here, some other kind of singular roster changes as well. 69IQ Esports and Underrated make that marquee trade. Case Swinney joined 69IQ, and I had a chance to watch them in Code Red. They leveled up their gameplay significant. We'll talk about Underrated in a second. We got Nemesis, ASCII joining in place of ZMB. Young Money Guild, Buck joins in place of Gonzalez. And for FigVam, Desert UK joins in favor of I Just Pew Pew. Keep in mind, rosters can only change 1 player, otherwise they disband. You can't change 2 rosters because you're basically changing your whole team at that point. And I mentioned Underrated. The swap with 69IQ, Harold joins this team, and they performed, Rain Day. They performed and got top 5 on Friday, so far it looks to be a favorable trade.
Yeah, and sometimes you just get that instant boon, that positivity that, hey, life is new. We've got new changes. Everything I know in the past is gone. We have a whole new future ahead of us. And with a team that hasn't gotten the results that you wanted, sometimes you start to look at the future as a bit dismal. You don't know how to change it. So that roster swap, albeit just 1 player, can make a huge difference. And, they could have a bright future.
Absolutely. So we talked about a lot of teams, a lot of rosters, a lot of names. However, it's time for one of my favorite segments of the show. It's our Lenovo Teams to Watch. Vicky, Rende, interested to get your thoughts here on which 3 teams you selected as analysts to watch for today. And of course, we got a little highlight package for each of them. But Rende, we're going to start with you. Who's your team to watch here in this one?
Well, I don't think it's a surprise. If you have eyes, you're going to be watching Gambit, because not only are they the most winningest team almost in European history, they've honestly been able to continue dominating within this split of playoffs, finding themselves at the top. Question is, can they continue? We'll have a great chance to watch today, but nobody else that you should watch except Hardeki. The man knows how to clutch better than almost anyone I've seen Europe or North America. That's why they need to be paid attention to.
Yeah, you know who else has been right up there with Gambit? You got Lecite de France being another one of those teams. They've been top 5 in every Pro League week so far, with week 3 being the only week that they didn't win a game. And so with those consistent squads being right up there in EMEA, you also have Lecite de France leading the way. We're going to also see if the break has treated them well as one of our teams to watch. And, you know, a squad that's actually right up there with Lecite de France is Guild Rain Day.
I love Guild, and the fact that they've had their weakest showing in week 3, placing 9th, but they've been able to bounce back with solid, consistent games, which they haven't won yet. That's the craziest part about it, but they're tied with Maestro for 2nd. They're actually finding themselves in 5th here overall in EMEA. I think that's just a beautiful testament to the in-game leadership of Matafe and how these guys synergize so well in final circles. Definitely pay attention to them.
Yeah, so we got Guild, we got Lecite de France, and we got Gambit as our 3 teams to watch. But again, so many rosters in this lobby. We got Scars, FigVam, 69 IQ with K Swinney on the team and their debut in the ALGS. I'm excited to see what they can do. But this has been your Lenovo teams to watch. Storylines are certainly not of shortness here, as we have so many storylines coming into this one. A lot of great discussions to be had. One thing to keep in mind, one of the biggest ones, is the bottom 8 teams will be relegated at the end of the Pro League. So the teams that are currently at the bottom 8 of the standings, Rebel was there or near there. They performed on Friday. Will the teams that are there right now perform as well? That is the question. So many storylines certainly going into this week. But we got our talent predictions now, and I'm interested to see, let's pull up the graphic, our predictions for the day. And oh my goodness.
Bingo!
For the first time, we got Gambit Esports selected by each and every single one of us. Vicky, I'm going to let you do the honors. Why do we have Gambit here for all of us on screen?
I mean, I think it trickles down to what I was saying earlier. You got Gambit and you got Maestro, the 2 teams that have been so consistent, being able to win multiple games in one day. We got Maestro here, but we got Gambit in the A versus D lobby, and Gambit has just been on a tear. I feel like it's no surprise that we've all decided to pick on Gambit, because this is one of those squads that we also have on our teams to watch for a reason.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, will Gambit continue to run Wraith, Hardeki on Wraith, or will they play Ashe in that new meta? We've seen a lot of teams run Ashe on Friday. I'm excited to see that and more, as guess what? Game number 1 is loading, is ready to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it to y'all as we get ready for game number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, in the chat, get hyped, because game number 1 is here. Over to you all.
All right, thank you so much, Fallout. Man, what a time. Me and him, last time I was on camera with him, we were dressed up like Miami Vice, about to go for a night out on the town. However, today, it's you and me, Vicky. We're going to keep it a little bit more classy as we head into our first match of the day. I'm excited, though. What are you looking forward to most in your eyes as far as what game 1 might set up as far as storylines for us?
I think the biggest thing that we need to look at today is some of these roster changes and how it's going to affect some of these squads. We saw how it played a hand into Friday's matches. You guys were talking about Rated, and that's the reason why they were in that top 5 spot, even winning game number 4. But I'm interested to see how that's going to play into today's teams, especially since we have to talk about the incorporation of Ashe being here, some of the changes as we go away from the little break that we had some of these squads take.
Well, Ashe, the newest legend in Apex Legends, coming out in Season 11, Escape. Will she be able to escape the choice, however, of being selected here as a part of the Pro League? I doubt it at all, but she may not be as prevalent as some might have assumed. Ashe obviously replacing some of the more in-game leader roles, the scouting role, the more aggressive role that the Wraith might provide, but of course doing it in a way that's a bit different, and we haven't found that kind of settle in and kind of take its grip amongst the entire meta of Europe. But Vicky, one thing I do enjoy about Europe is they tend to try things a little bit more steadily. They tend to be a little bit more consistent than North America, and they also tend to be willing to improvise. For example, Loba, something we see in Europe all the time that is extremely successful that we hardly ever see in North America.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that because that is the type of different compositions that we see away from EMEA, away from NA, and now seeing the circle and where it's going to be pulling towards 69 IQ are very happy with this as they do land Thermal. So the circle already going to encapsulate Thermal Station. So you're going to have to expect some of these squads to make those rotations as quickly as possible. I'm looking at some of these squads that have already landed on Tree. They want to get that beacon as quickly as possible. And Lecito Franz also taking trials, and we saw some action happening earlier in Skyhook with 2 other squads. So I'm wondering here if Lecito Franz, they could loot up quickly and see where that circle is going to be pulling. Maybe they could go in for the third party in Skyhook.
Yep, there's a lot of different dynamics in how you want to play this one, especially the fact that you have to shout out not only 69 IQ start there, but so did Na'Vi, who in this final week, I got the chance to see them play a lot of Thermal Station and Arenas. It's one of the maps that you play that transitions from BR in-games to the unique Arenas mode. And Na'Vi were particularly good at it, and we noticed the pro teams tend to have a lot of experience. Why? Because, well, we see a lot of Thermal Stations in BR, and here's just another one to prove that point. A very aware of the location ending play spots for all of these legends types, for all of these players type circle, which means it should even the playing ground. But like you mentioned as well, Vicky, Lecito Franz, they got a long way to go starting at basically the most northern side in trials, but they will have that gold to sate their appetite while they make the long journey away.
And they're already rotating towards Skyhook too. We talked about some of the compositions looking at Ash, but we also have the Valkyrie that has been out since the very start of the season, and that's also going to be something to look at with a lot of these squads having to rotate from the northern side of the map all the way to Thermo. You're going to be able to expect some of those redeploys, but whoever gets that sniper tower in the middle of Thermal Station, they're going to be the squad that's going to be sitting extremely happy up there, maybe wondering, could it be a Loba squad where they're not going to deny themselves loot perhaps? We're going to have to see, because that is a prediction that some of these squads are going to be taking after they do manage to scan these beacons to see where that circle is going to be pulling over Thermal.
19 squads still remaining. That means one has gone down, an untimely landing and encounter for them. Of course, starting off immediately dead is tough, not only for the morale. You've got about 40 minutes to wait and watch, but you don't really know what went wrong. You don't get a chance to play. Luckily, though, Phoenix, Legacy in the squad, taking a couple of shots as they make their rotation through this archway, but nothing too serious. Mr. Arthur on a gold as well on the Bloodhound. Going to be fantastic, especially when that ultimate starts to pop. Fast movement speed, fast heals. Not much of a better combo there, but look at these guys. The team we spoke so much about already in one of the best places to hold in Thermal. This little edge where it often ends. And you can play low ground or high ground on here, Vicky, but this is one of the most consistent ending zones here in Thermal. So great spot for Gambit to kind of lock down early.
Yeah, something that TSM has actually noted, they usually always rotate towards this side, and Gambit replicating that right now. They're not directly underneath the sniper tower, but look how many squads have already rotated here, wasting no time. Of course, we did start the game today with Uwu Oo Catboys not in this lobby because they're, just like you were saying earlier, you don't even have the chance to play at that point, and they won't be the ones to play here. Instead, it's going to be Gambit that we were highlighting.
That's
right. The side.
That's right. Great reminder. You reminded me as well. Vicky doing a great job of letting us all know that typically you would know someone died. Nope, that's Uwu Oo Catboys who just have not joined this lobby. So you're going to be seeing 19 all of a sudden every single round, but don't worry. That doesn't mean that someone made a fatal mistake. Even I have made a mistake more so than these teams. So that's great to know. Thanks for my partner helping catch me out here. But Scars trying to get in there with a nice early Valkyrie ultimate. And to me, Vicky, this is when you use the Valkyrie.
Yeah, the redeploy, you're always going to have to take those 50-50s because you don't know how many squads have already rotated in this direction. With RPR already taking some of that damage, they're not looking too hot on Evo Shields too. They got the 2 whites, they only have Taishin with purple, and already forcing out the dome, losing their shield.
Missile strike coming in. Manny easily with the shield though, and he's out of it. And that's going to be a while before it comes back. Still 20-plus seconds on it, so Mandy has to do whatever he can here. Gambit have eyes on them, but do they want to push Herdeki? With the 3 times on the Hemlock, doing enough to say, I'm content there. We've wasted some resources. He's on a white. So just to be careful. This is the key point here. You want to clear anybody out that might be a problem towards your in-game rotations. And this is definitely a concern. So pay attention to Gambit and Scars. Heading into the next round here is, of course, round 1. Still 1 minute and 45 from closing.
I love how you highlighted Hardeki earlier on in the pre-show too. Hardeki being one of those top players from this group, super clutch player too, and you see the way that Gambit is holding this position. They're not angsty here. They're just going to be able to hold this spot, looking at a lot of the chaos happening around them, noting where some of these squads have already rotated, and they do have the redeploy, but like we mentioned before, there's probably a squad already holding onto that sniper tower, it looked like, as we could see that silhouette, and Gambit Esports don't have a Bloodhound because they're running the Valk, so they could only kind of scout out where those squads are currently. Just with this spot, you can see Hardeki even taking a peek, and the crypto drone managing to get some intel here as Gambit still is holding this corner.
And it's an interesting approach, truly. And you can see it's going to work out for them at least until this final 10. But the issue is in Europe, unlike North America, you will see not a final 10. You'll see a final 14, 16, sometimes 18 when it gets to these circles until round 3 or 4. There's just so much more patience. One of the things I love about seeing in these lobbies, Vicky, because there really is this kind of respect, and there's also this level of, you know, why take an overwhelming risk if we don't need to? What is the payoff of getting 3 KP when we could be surviving to earn that 3 KP just in placement points before we start fighting and wasting our resources?
Exactly. That's why you see a lot of these squads make these rotations really early because they want to hold that last circle position. I mean, we were talking about it before since we were noting Loba being played in these EMEA lobbies, but look who's already on the sniper ground. It is a Loba squad. They got there first, so they won't even be denied loot because they have the black market that you see another squad taking shots at. So aside from that, the traffic control here, Rain, is a little congested. You got 2 crypto drones also flying around this entire lot, also noting how many squads are already in the area. So with a beacon being in the area, some of these squads that are running this crypto composition don't even have to overextend to get that information, but it doesn't look like there is going to be a beacon usually on the building that is right next to thermal station.
Oh, and you got to show love to my boy Phoenix. Back in times past, I'm not going to mention the game, but I've casted this guy, known him as a friend, seen him in person at many events for many years back when I was doing some other work here in esports, as that journey always reunites you with many different friends from many different places. Big shout out to Ford Gang as well, Phoenix, one of the homies. But of course, got to keep it very, very professional here because can't be any bias, but excited to see him performing. And I think that's the beauty, just to take it into a meta conversation around Apex Legends, of how many different players from FPS, from hero shooters, from traditional, more tactical shooters have joined to be a part of this ALGS esport adventure. Seeing the promise in what this game has already shown in a year and a half, but also what's next with 5 million in prizing, with the promise of playoffs in January, leading all the way up into May. It's an exciting time, and it's really attracting a lot of different talent from all different areas of traditional esports.
Yeah, you know what, Rin? I absolutely love hyping up the homies, though. You can't deny that. You can't deny seeing that growth, too, in these games. Why don't we take a listen into 4Gang to see what their rotation's going to be, as they actually backtracked a little bit and decided to go for a longer rotation.
Careful, I'm slightly behind.
Yeah.
Only slightly, then. I miss you. Come closer.
There is a good chance that someone's like gatekeeping from height, you know, like this show here.
We can cruise over here.
Yeah, 100%.
Because then we have to, what we're gonna have to do is we have to get like on the right side on Valkyrie, because then we can go over this choke to get underneath it. Oh.
And then we'll get more info on the score before we land.
I like, just make sure we don't like, you know, stress it. It's zone 2. If we're gonna get shot at and stuff, like we'll find out, there should be a spot to like get in anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
And we have gold armor.
Yeah, we're kind of rich, man.
Is this, can you see if this is clear?
Bandit out there.
I didn't see anyone on that rock right now.
Okay. From there we can Valko to go under that zipline that where I want to go. I think that could be good.
Does they give us enough time to react as a team then?
Yep.
Okay.
I suggest we do
There's a
some
fork
research.
there.
There is a team playing jungle G, that's not really good.
They dropped like a sniper here, I think, so there might be a Kraber.
Did you hear Faye?
Sorry, what?
If you go for the zip and then you... No, but you want to go for this, right?
If no, then I think we go land behind the pillars and go for under donut. With the bubble, we cross that. Otherwise, what we do is we can land on the fence on this building and like, take the building with caustic. They're fighting and staging though, right?
Yes.
Other side. We could walk.
Choke.
Brave hit the 50, 60, 70 on the Brave. I'm queuing it. They're gonna be stuck there. We don't. The other teams for staging are gonna be looking now, okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop trapping.
Can we cross into medic soon?
Yeah, sure. Ready?
Yeah, but we have 2 teams looking.
We can just drop and go.
Yeah, I want to play here for a bit longer. Like myself.
Should we go with?
I'm already going towards medic.
I'm coming too. Saging is moving by door.
Yeah, but they're being gate capped. The waves they're being forced back hard. They're going back into towards the vault tunnel.
Yeah, I see them backing up.
All right, well, we heard a little bit from Phoenix there. You can tell he was the man making the calls, a great IGL, a world champion in other games, and so we'll see if he can replicate that level of play here in the first game of EMEA as we head into match day 8 for this Apex Legends Global Series. We've got Group A versus D all day today, and so far no team down. That's right, Ooh, Cat Boys have disbanded, so we're starting these lobbies with 19. It is round 3, 2 minutes left now before it starts to close, and no one yet to take a spill.
No, 30 shots, though, are the ones spilling the game out here for Lucid France, who are forced inside this building right now. Just gonna have to respect here, but they're gonna have to get moving soon. With less than 2 minutes, they see where the circle's gonna be pulling, and you have to imagine already, Rain, with a lot of these squads noting where that next circle's gonna be, after we also saw 4Gang being able to get that beacon outside of circle, that a lot of these squads are already holding the choke point that Lucid France is gonna be forced to kind of funnel through.
And that's gonna be a problem here, especially if you look at the way that they're so successfully holding this, but I love the 30-30. It's a great weapon here. I think it's going to replace where a lot of the G7 scout play used to happen. You see the Hemlock there as well, something long range to poke, something mid range to be able to fight, hip fire that could do well, and also a shotgun to finish it off. As we take a look back at Gambit, as this only starts to become greater and greater valued real estate. It's like the market outside today. It just keeps raising in terms of price because everyone wants to go there and there's just not enough space for all of the buyers. Robin over on the other side taking down YSG Buck, but still Gambit able to hide around these pills and just avoid any death moments here. The Ogre Gambit, though, taking it very close to the chest, might actually be biting off more than they can chew with some of these engagements.
Yeah, looking at where the circle's going to pull towards, too. You have some of those spots. I thought it was going to pull towards Thermo now, seeing, all right, well, now we're going to have to be forced to move, and that's going to be a lot of open ground. You have squads like Clean that are holding onto this building up to the right. You saw some squads rotating from tree where there was a beacon before, but Clean, they have the alternator in hand right now, Rain, and they're looking to try to utilize that right here after they're noting where these squads are already rotating.
Unlucky. Looking to see if there's anything for them there. They've got the Valkyrie ultimate and the Ash ultimate as well. G-Dolphin, a lot of mobility for him in the longbow. Getting in 110 from the range. Just off. That's okay. Ash ultimate already been taken by Nag. Okay. Excuse me, the Wraith ultimate there. May find a way to do it if they do want to go. Nag may just be on a mission to scout a little bit, which the Wraith often needs to do to set up for the team. As they hold the base and apply pressure. 18 squads remaining. We've finally seen someone go down here in round 3, still 30 seconds away from close.
Well, you highlighted here too, still 18 squads nonetheless, and so many squads in the area. You can see the rotations already coming out. I'm wondering that squad that they were shooting at that was holding on to Pride Rock are a little bit off from the side of circle. They're trying to rotate into the buildings, which already may be happening as Clean already starting to take some shots. Again, we noted that they have the alternator, but G-Dolphin taking some damage as you see Clean are forced to hold on to this high ground here. See some squads actually playing right below them, and it can be riskier for that squad since they're right in the middle of the lava, in the middle of a lot of the other squads rotating away from thermal stations.
And this is what you can expect. That makes EMEA so great. Round 3 about to close, but now it's going to be the inevitable. There is just not enough space for all of these teams to occupy it, especially with that circle moving a little bit more. Unlucky. It's been unlucky. Doesn't win the trade there. Has to hit a shield bat as well. Nax just holding the left side with the R301 and the alternator. A dangerous combination, but he doesn't have that firepower up close like a PK would do. As it starts to settle, but you know that this is just the calm before the storm, Vicky. It is about to get serious here. Clean, it looks like it's going to get into engagement, and Gambit, it looks like they're going to fly off. Will this pay off? This could be death, or this could be salvation. We'll see what ends up happening here as Gambit take the leap of faith.
They take the leap of faith. They want to be able to secure one of these buildings in circle, but this is always so risky here. And this building's unoccupied. Okay, they're going to be so happy about that. I'm actually rather surprised here. We saw so many squads here. All planned, though. Losing their Gambit in the process, already forcing out the dope. Can they clutch it out? They can't. And Lucid de France and the kill feed also go down already, too. Rather early for that squad.
You're starting to see it spill. This is how it goes in EMEA. You wait patiently, and then like Christmas Day, gets open all your presents at once. Badoli here holding down this angle with the R301. It's a beautiful spot, plus the triple take for a hit fire if you need it. Nasty and Dell holding the upper stairs. A very strong spot with the Caustic as well to discourage anybody battling their way in. Again, buying time. There's so much action on the outside. If you could just hold your position, you will guarantee yourself placement points because the teams on the outskirts are having to move in and face off each other. But Badoli content to just sit here, as I would be as well. With 14 seconds left, there's going to have to be more action as this circle will start to move.
Yeah, when you have this composition, you want to be able to make sure that nobody else can have that free real estate coming in. They have the Caustic, they have the Crypto too to scout to see which other squads are going to be blocking the rotation, and maybe even scouting to see which building to move towards next. But they're still by the edge here, Rain, and this is where they want to stand because you see a lot of these squads trying to fight for that position inside the building.
Gambit are in such a great spot. You see Valkyrie ultimates now with a little bit more eyes on it. Mandy actually hits enough. I think it's 50 in the air. He gets himself the next Evo, and that purple may come in handy. If he survives any 25 health engagements, you'll know it's because of those shots right there. Hardeki, though, getting challenged or challenging down at the bottom floor. They don't want this house to be contested. They want it all to themselves, as it is one of the best places to play this final edge. So they're holding with the Peacekeeper choked up. Buff in this latest season has definitely become the shotgun to go to. 13 squads remaining. Gambit taking the Gambit that they might just try to peek, or will they do the peeking? It looks like Hardeki is interested in going in there, but are they going to do it for real? They've got to commit to this one if they want. Otherwise, they're just backing off and waiting. And look at that, Vicky. 11 squads left all of a sudden from 18.
Right, just so quickly, was so volatile within these lobbies, having to make those rotations away, and no beacon either in the circle, so these squads are taking a Gambit here, and just, you can see as Gambit Esports are holding onto this building, they're actually, but it bounced off the back of his head, but it's okay, they're gonna actually just close in that gap. They want to secure this other building right here, and they felt a little intimidated looking at the fact that that roof was not in the circle. They didn't want to be caught off guard mid-rotation, so they used that dome early so that way they could secure this spot without revealing the fact that they're still working off of 2 blue Evo shields.
We're seeing an incredible display of tactical awareness from Gambit, and we talked about why are they so good? Why are they the #1 team here in Europe that we're all voting to take this lobby? It's because of moments like this. There's no hesitation. There's clear in-game leading. There's clear decision-making where other teams are sitting, watching, waiting to see what occurs. Gambit are making things happen and executing a plan. It's surely going to end up with a couple more placement points for them, but on the outskirts, clean, maybe not looking so easy. Nasty with the Prowler. Above, raining down bullets down below. Is he going to fall? He's going into it. Nasty trying to finish it off. He takes a ton of damage here. He's going to go down. But Dell and Badoli trying to follow back up. They will find the trade, and this will help out at least to keep Badoli alive with the shield battery. He's going to get 1 res off, but this is going to be inside the zone. Will it be enough to get them alive and healthy? We're going to have to find out. No, just a little bit of a mirror image there, but now round 5 will close. They will have to make their move in this instant.
Yeah, we also saw some of these squads that have already been eliminated. Actually was talking about Lasita France. They're still in this. We just have some squads rocking that clan, but now GMT need to make this rotation and open ground nonetheless, Rain. It's so difficult for GMT just doing this as a duo.
And this is a little bit of a tough one. Slows you down. Luckily, you don't have anyone on the east side peppering them right now because these bullets would hurt. It would definitely put an end to any of this traverse. It's like they're finding their way through the road less traveled by. Robert Foss would be proud. It's not an easy way to do it. It's not the best way to do it, but it's a way to do it, and that's all you need when you're trying to win something like this EMEA round 1 here, especially with 8 BT. So many great teams approaching. Mandy and Scars on the outside, Vicky, trying to find a way, and the circle has finally settled itself. It seems like we will have one final round with 8 squads remaining, unless Scars tries to get aggressive.
And we also saw a knock from the bombardment too. We have heads dropping here. Scars trying to make this rotation into the building and trying to take this in real estate, but they have to contest a squad that's also on the high ground here too. With so many thermites blocking this rotation, Scars are actually just trying to dance around some of these lethals now. The Cedar Fonts now invited to the party a little late, but better late than never, as I always say.
And this is one of the best buildings you can have right now. You obviously have angles on 3 different teams. Look at the grenades! All the damage! It's raining down! Arc stars, ordinances, anything you can imagine. La Cite de France, a beautiful execution of just using your utility. Are they going to push off of this? There's KP waiting. You do not want to let these knocks go to another team, but they also don't want to risk being in this perfect spot for in-game picks. So it's a tough decision, and they've decided to hold back.
Especially with Gambit looking at this building with big eyes. Like Cedar Fonts, they don't want to give this up, but they're moving closer to the dome here. Hardeki has to clean this up. He's staying in this Caustic gas trap after some of those changes that we saw in the Caustic barrels. You don't want to contest that. They lose Hardeki, but you still have 2 members of Gambit trying to rope around this building. They're playing from the very bottom, though, a disadvantage. Looking at the squad that's already inside, it's going to be a Caustic composition coming in.
69 IQ, GMT, Lecite France, Scars, Fig Fam, and Gambit Esports. We have followed them all throughout this game, and it is time to see who will take the win. Obviously, Sick squad with beautiful locations. Luckily, they found the way to get Gambit Hardeki up, and that was really the question mark. Losing somebody like Hardeki that early, he won't have enough time to hit a medkit. He's going to have to rotate, and they know that very well. Leobri doing enough damage with the Volt. That's going to be one. Lagger goes down. Lecite France could be paying the ultimate price here and taking their eternal rest, as we had mentioned earlier. That's 1 KP. Gambit looking hard.
And they're looking to keep setting it in. They're getting pinged by some of these lethals that have just been coming out from these squads to block some of this rotation. A little peek here from Leo Glizzy trying to be able to take over there. He does manage to make that shot land here with the PK, but they're playing this rock and they're so low on health.
Oh, but they're doing such great tag teaming here. This is the benefit of being able to play like a unit. One goes in, they use almost all of their health, but that 25 health saves their life, and then they introduce Hardeki to try to take the rest of the brunt of the follow-up damage. Gambit putting on a clinic here, not only in their in-game movement, but look at this! Larabanu, Lecite France from up above! Oh my god, this is the absolute god spot. We have found Larabanu, and he is in the prime position to make an impact in this game. What can he do? 3 squads left, a PK shot, 2 squads left. Will Larabanu touch it? But this could be the most incredible 1v2 we've seen. The Peacekeeper isn't enough. It's 69 IQ Esports who clean up game 1, but Larabanu, what a play, what a performance. A 2nd place finish for him in the squad.
Securing 2nd place and still tacking on the pressure from what a god spot that was. Larabanu, we are looking at you, the rat who pushed LCDF into that 2nd place spot, but 69 IQ, they were a squad that was really up and healthy. They had their Evo shields ready. It was too difficult of a 1v3 to clutch out, but nonetheless, still managing to get that 2nd place spot is going to secure those extra points in addition to the 4 kills that they were able to obtain.
You know what I love about this, Vicky? Not just the hype of that final circle, but the quality of that final circle with all of those players playing. Just it's a masterclass. It was chess. It was a great way of back and forth and counters amongst each other to find the best position. Larabanu staying alive and out of sight ended up securing 2nd place. Those 2 points put them tied in terms of total points for that game against Gambit, who I think played the best from what we were able to watch. But look at that, 69 IQ Esports. We mentioned the swap. We mentioned one player giving you an entire new lease on life and potential, and that's what K-Swinney has done yet again. Smegito, Slayers, they have 19 points heading into game 2. What a start for them.
So many kills too on board. You're looking at Scars, who had secured 6 kills. We saw Gambit earlier too, and 69 IQ walking away with those 7 kills and 1st place. Starting off the day really nice here. Look at that here. Got Swinney with 5 kills, 1,800 damage. Although we don't have a lot of kills on board here, 69 IQ still secure that 1st place and those additional kills. So they're looking really nice with that early KP.
You got to say, I mean, the damage K-Swinney has put down, 1857. I mean, that is a great game, almost hitting 2K. And when you combine it with, 69 IQ Slayers and Smegito, really under 500 each, Smegito under 300, not to say that they didn't play their roles perfectly, because you can't do what they did without the Caustic defense, the Valk transition, but K-Swinney, I mean, put the team on his back. He said, I'm getting this done no matter what. Come on with me. We're going to win this game right here. And I think that's one of the best things about that introduction to this team. It's truly made 69 IQ Esports a team to watch today.
Yeah, you saw Swinney actually putting down work with that dome too. They were playing the edge of the dome so well, and that's what I like to see from 69 IQ, coming and swinging from the get-go in that 1st game, Rain.
But what a great game. We saw the composure of Europe play out, but at the end of the day, it's always time for the stars to make the clutch moments, and it was 69 IQ Esports who shone brighter than any other team in EMEA. Will that continue? We'll find out right after this break.
Monster Energy, the official energy drink of the Apex Legends Global Series.
Welcome back. It is time for our second game of the day here in EMEA. It's a fresh start, and we've got some fresh faces. It's Ashavok's debut. Welcome to the show.
Hey, nice to meet y'all. Ash here. You just call me Ashavok or Ash. Usually he's just streaming on Twitch. This is actually the first time you're all catching me on the ALGS in day 8 of all days, so I'm pretty hyped to be here. It's really nice.
Yeah, we've had some great action already, and I can't wait to go through this game with you as well. 69 IQ with their big pickup in K-Swinny, new man to the roster there with almost 1900 damage in the first game. It's a great start for a team with a new addition to their roster.
Honestly, and it absolutely paid off, with 69 IQ coming in clutch with the win, having to go against the last player on LCDF, which honestly, the absolute god spot, unfortunately did not get far, is just completely shot down by everyone left in the lobby. And it was pretty exciting to watch. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, but unfortunately could not be with 69 IQ, fortunately for them, taking the win. And
yeah, that zone was pretty good for them. We'll see what the next one's going to look like. We saw some discussion in the previous days about the zones. Obviously, it favors the south, where there are quite interesting POIs for the zones to finish in. But we did see some north zones in North America on Friday, so perhaps we'll see some in EMEA as well. We'll have to wait and see how that's doing. And again, it is day 8, but there's a lot for these teams to fight for. You need to stay up that relegation zone towards the bottom of the table if you're not necessarily close enough to the top either. You just want to stay out of danger as much as you can. So maybe being in the middle area isn't too shabby, but you don't want to be, there's a few days of play left to go, so you definitely don't want to be kind of just keeping your head above water. You want to be like just fully above that dangerous area, not really like 1 or 2 above that. But we'll see. There's a lot of people who are going to be playing for some points today, of course, and I think one question is how much danger you take in your decision making if you don't want to risk that kind of early exit. If you think there's an opportunity, do you hesitate now as we get to the late stages of this split? What do you think?
I mean, you honestly got to be careful. Like you said, you got to keep your head above water. For a lot of teams, they're going to have to stay waist height above water right now. Right now, it's more about not just getting like kill points or thirsting for kills. You got to be careful. You got to outsmart your opponents. You got to pretty much wait them out in any place you can find. A lot of rat strats are probably going to happen over the coming times, right? This is just day 8. We've got a lot of days to go and a lot of matches right now to go through. So it's definitely going to be intense, and depending on ring placement, that's going to determine the outcome for a lot of teams to see where they're going to stand after this match too.
Speaking about where people stand, okay, so Vicky and I are at polar opposites when it comes to Caustic. I love me some Caustic. I'm Caustic fan 1, I think, on the broadcast. Vicky is drinking that haterade, and I feel like you might be as well. Is there any truth to this?
Good lord, the amount of vitriol I have against Caustic is so completely and totally unrivaled right now. Casual, right? We call him the gas daddy, if you will. Once you run into Caustic, you may as well call it quits. If you're in the final ring and he has a Nox grenade out, I'm glad they buffed him. At the same time, as a Fuse main myself, I am completely and utterly terrified of ever running into a Caustic in lobbies. So, yeah, I'm not liking him.
I don't know if I can work under these conditions. We need more support for Caustic on the broadcast. I feel very alone right now. That is some fast blue armor on Artico. It already got the level 2. We saw some awkward rotations, actually, in that first game. I like to call the grey armor, the white armor, squishy. It's like a duck at bath time, You squeeze it and it squeaks, and you don't want to be one of those guys who's squeaking with the squishy armor. So some early armor is very, very nice indeed for Artico and Hardeki as well. Ooh, we got superb.
Honestly, the last thing you want to do right now, even dropping in Lava Siphon, which is usually a hot spot, I'm surprised, is landing with white armor. You get into a fight, you are going to be in some big time trouble. Like, again, very squishy, oh my goodness. Oh,
now that's a zone. Yeah, I like this.
That is a zone, huh?
It really is, yeah. And yeah, okay, I'm interested. This is good because look at Fork Gang. They had a big rotation in game number 1, but it's a short stroll. It's a walk in the park for them in game number 2. So if they can get a scan quickly, and it looks like they probably can, then they can start decision making straight away. We saw 69 IQ again. It basically. The zone basically landed on them last game and they ended up winning. Now we'll see if 4Gang can try and convert. Obviously, there is stiff competition. We can see that Scars are in that zone as well. So that's something to be considering. But hey, we've got a European North zone. You love to see it.
Honestly, with that zone, like we got Climatizer, Epicenter, and Fragment East, that's definitely going to be a lot of interesting spots, a lot of teams ratting, that's for sure. We got LCDF over in Bloodhound Trials, probably going to pick up a lot of good loot here. Then again, they have to be really tricky. Those Prowlers cause a lot of noise. You're going to have some third parties probably trying to come in and thirst for kills. Then again, LCDF, again, good loot. They're not careful though. Oh, that's going to be a mess of trouble coming their way in a hot second.
You can see just a solo play for the Prowlers at present to give them some more space and allow them to loot more area as well, which is one way to try and avoid those 3Ps. But it takes a brave person to stand there alone with the Prowlers, because I wouldn't want to be doing that.
Honestly, Prowlers are no joke. They can do a lot of damage if you are caught off guard. They can down you. Your teammates can be swarmed by them in a hot second. But then again, LCDF picking up some really good loot here, including a Guardian Angel backpack. That is going to come in clutch later if they need to pop off any heals if they are downed. Which, whew, and 69 IQ over in Heat. Trying to see if they can spot any teams here. I think it's feeling really empty.
Yeah, it looks like they're just spotting while there's crafting going on at the bottom. And they may expect teams to potentially come their way if they want to get some crafting done. But again, there is rotation that has to be done. So they may be chilling for a while. I don't think they'll get anyone contesting them for the time being, but they'll craft what they can. I do like that. You know, with 50 points, you can evo your white armor to blue now. It's not necessarily what you always want to do, but the fact that it's available and it's a lot easier than it was before in the recent update is something I'm a fan of.
Yeah, and Gambit Esports trying to see if they can spot any of their squads here, and I think they're about to get over into a team fight right here, touching down in case they get hit, which is honestly a smart play. Unfortunately, the area has already been looted, so they're coming up short on that department. Which, getting shot at, they might want to be careful and pull back here, but...
Yeah, they can play downstairs, although they may not know the climate through either end of that choke point. Yeah, but this is going to burn their shields for sure. Not the most comfortable position, especially when there's a charge rifle around. Love to evo the armor with a charge rifle as well.
Yeah, that charge rifle can output a lot of damage, especially from a distance. That is the one thing you want to look out for. You get hit by that, you can get burst down pretty easily. And especially if the enemy team decides to push, you are going to be in a boatload of trouble.
Yeah, I feel like if you compare the charge rifle and a longbow, the charge rifle's like death by paper cut, but you know, a lot of paper cuts. But it's just like really, really annoying, whereas the longbow is a lot more dangerous. But up close, the Mastiff around the bubble is going to cause some problems, and it looks like Gambit have got some big problems. They've already found some comfort here, and Atsuko's going to have to do it alone with the RE45. Got to be real careful about these engagements, as he's up against a full team as well. And that's going to be the end of Gambit very early. The first squad down in game 2.
That is honestly the last team I was expecting to go down early in this case. Gambit falling immediately. Artico left solo. Could not finish it off, unfortunately. That was just brutal.
Yeah, and we can see GMT Esports downstairs. Nasty Nasky stopping them, just reducing the options because Gambit were upstairs earlier on. And I think somebody may have headed down to see what was going on down there. So they were getting peppered as soon as they landed. Didn't really have many options in where they wanted to go. So that was a difficult rotation, let's say, for Gambit. And that can be the case sometimes with these Valk rotations. And we can see that Reply Totem are under heavy pressure now, trying to stay alive. And again, just trying to keep their shields up. Like, this harassment can really burn your shields very easily, especially when a fuse is hanging around, which we have seen in some previous weeks as well.
Which Fuse 2020 underrated, GG's. But anyways, besides that, yeah, definitely going to watch out for some of those Arc Stars. Can definitely do a lot of damage to shields. And it's going to be really tricky for Reply Totem, considering they might be pinched in between not one, but two teams. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Guild Esports, a great team to listen to comms to. Matafe having to keep everybody calm and focused. He does it well, though, I have to say. I had some chats with him on his stream again about the different zones and so on. He prefers the northernmost zones, if I remember correctly, because they're easier to rotate into. Some of the, like the southwest, I want to say, if all the buildings are occupied, you kind of got nowhere to go if you're on the other side of the map. So maybe happy to see this zone, but we'll see if they can find a place of comfort. Still on the rotation for the time being, but all seems well for now.
Yeah, especially with this zone being where it's placed, Valkyrie is definitely going to come in clutch when it comes to rotation. And for a lot of teams running Valkyrie right now, it's all about rotation, it's about placement, and of course the infamous rat strats, my favorite. And 69 IQ Esports heading through cave right now. I don't believe they have a vault key, so they're probably going to head over to the landslide to see if they can pick up any teams, maybe any KP. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, and speaking of their comms, we're going to have a listen in and see what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah, but that would make no sense.
True. We did that to you once, I don't know why.
Any PTSD?
Yeah.
Imagine no beacon, no craft, and someone's ratting ammo.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking dumb.
I'm just gonna fly up, see if I can see anything.
Alright.
They're not on dildo.
They're bubble and beacon that we're going to.
Alright.
Okay.
Nice. You guys are confident with your gun, right? Your stuff?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Got him assist price, all good.
Easy lips.
Careful.
On me!
Back.
Popping bats, I'm fine.
We now need to play backside.
That's another squad.
Do we move back?
Yeah,
or?
Just back up.
Shall we go through?
Yeah, come this way.
No.
Oh, Spinny, you kind of side, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, we're going to the left, yeah.
We got watch
They just want the beacon. They were just like waiting the beacon, I think.
Okay, they're waiting the beacon.
Oh, they're running cross, careful. It's a lot of squad, yeah.
There's a lot of shit here, bro. Do you want to go back through skyhooks?
Can we move up together, come?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I'm with.
Watching behind. Careful, boys. No bubs, right? No bubs. Careful your swing.
Don't slow
Team
down.
here. Oh, 60 damage on one. No bubs. They're gonna valve, right?
The other team's rotated out. We can take beacon if you want.
You sure it's the blue on team?
Yeah, one team's there and another team's just rotated down.
Yes, the blue on team. Yeah, go take beacon. But they all are going down. The zone should pull back here.
Yeah.
Right.
Stick
all
together,
going
bro.
flag side. Yeah, stick together.
They're collapsing on each other there. Come out with me, Spinner.
Yeah. Oh fuck, I fucking dead slide. Fuck me. Okay, nice. Good movement.
There's teams fighting near survey camp. Did you hear that or not?
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, fuck, they are all them. We need to fight for that knockout.
Well, you want to go for it, yeah?
Yeah, I wanna go fight. They're flying. Fuck, they might take.
Well, they've got the information and they will rotate. There was a care package nearby, but it didn't have any weapon in. Just some upgrades for players, but no spicy red weapons just yet.
Oh, no weapons. Here I am hoping for a Kraber, maybe even a Spitfire, even the alternator with disruptor shots, which obviously not everyone's favorite, but my favorite as usual. But 69 IQ managed to avoid death, pretty much, pulling back and falling back to a safer spot. And Scars Europe trying to see if they can spot anyone out in the open. And I don't believe they do. None of those wingdinger shots connecting. And I think they're going to try and stick here and see if they can wait everyone out until the final ring.
Looking at that map, 69 IQ are going to have a difficult rotation into their next ring. You can see that 4Gang are spotting, but there's not really, I mean, it's pretty busy over there in that grey ring, and we can see them Valcolting and going over them, so maybe that'll give them a chance, but it looks like they may be heading straight into a fight, so we'll keep an eye on that and see if somebody turns up on the knocks and the kills in the top right. See Scars
honestly,
just spotting now. Whoa, that's a nice shot from range.
Oh my goodness, 41 to crack. Whew, with the wingman of all weapons. That was actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was pretty solid from that range, and I was hoping to see some wing decky, but certainly not happening in game 2. And we spoke about that rotation. We can see 69 IQ have gone all the way over Guild, so that Valk coming in clutch there. They are being peppered as they make their way, but they may get there in time. Case Winnie though is running a little naked right now, needs to get his shield back up again.
Narrowly avoiding shots. Case Winnie probably, had he been headshotted a couple times, would have been it for him. Of course, managing to get the revive. But man, you got to zigzag around those shots. I think that either came from a 30-30 or a longbow. Who knows? But both of those can do damage, especially with the 30-30 and ADS. Ooh.
Yeah, we need to recognize that still, right now, the only team that have been dropped is Gambit. Everybody else is all good in the hood. Again, if you didn't see our game 1, There's no more Uwu Owo Catboys. They have
R.I.P.
disbanded, so
Fly
we
High.
start with 19 squads per game. So again, only Gambit have been dropped right now, and they've got to be a little salty about that.
Oh, honestly, like, personally, I was expecting more out of Gambit today. An absolutely disappointing end to the run. And this is just the second match! Like, oof! That's all gonna mount up to a giant
Lecite de
oof.
France have just been wrecked as well, so we have lost a second team now.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, that's a popular name. Again, we've seen some good performances from them in previous weeks, but hey, it's only game 2. But this one's not going to be desirable for them either. Two teams that we do expect to see at the other end of these rings, but sometimes it be like that, as they say.
It really be like that, honestly. Two teams we were expecting to make it to top 2, maybe even top 3 at this point, falling so early in the game, and I think those are the only 2 squad wipes we've had so far, am I right? Man.
Let's transfer to this spot.
Again, seeing still a lot more cryptos, I feel like, in EMEA versus North America. But definitely very useful for those safer rotations. Speaking of which, we have seen some discussion about do you go for Wraith or do you go for Ashe. I feel like Wraith is useful if you want to go for skirmishes. People like G2 use Wraith really well to just dive in and out, engage, disengage. But I feel like Ashe is the full send character where you're only going forward and you're not coming back.
Oh, especially when it comes to Ashe, I've seen some action from Ashe big time. And Scrims, I think this was built by gamers versus XSET. BBG coming in clutch with Ashe. Out of nowhere, that Ashe tactical absolutely came in handy because XSET was down in less than 5 minutes from behind, and it was not a pretty fight to watch.
Dead inside, looking to hold on the bridge, at least half of it. See the scans coming through now. Just trying to dance around this structure, but they are being chased down now by Phoenix Legacy. You've got some lines despite the bubble, and we're going to have some problems.
Oh, Phoenix Legacy managing to pick the knock. They're pushing in, dancing in and out to roll their bubble. But that bombardment's coming down. Lippin is heading out of there, safe and sound, popping up with a heal. That
Dead
was
inside.
a close one.
And dead outside as well. That was really awkward timing again with that dome. They just couldn't get into the dome, couldn't get into safety before those downs came through, and then that EVA 8 came in for the meat shots afterwards. So we're down to 16 squads.
Again, that EVA 8 can definitely do some damage. Navi better watch out here. With Max Stray pulling back in the shield battery just in time, somehow avoiding almost every single Varian bombardment. Young Money Guild coming into the fight here. Oh, that crypto drug getting out location. But Navi, I think they're going in for the push. Unfortunately, not enough as one of them is down. Oh my goodness.
Getting the first as well, about trying to escape, not going to happen. We've got a lot of kills coming in a very short space of time, and we've got ring problems as well. Got to get into that zone while he can, but from somewhere, Navi get absolutely wrecked, and there was a lot of carnage. And again, I expected as this ring started to close, there were a lot of people fighting for a very small space, and speaking of, there's a lack of space here, but that Wraith portal may come in clutch, but there's still problems up close as well. Almost nowhere to hide for Nemesis. 2 of the 3 players up having to fall back, but for how long? Into a bombardment, trying to dodge the bullets, there's just nowhere to hide.
God, there is so much going on right now. We lost Navi, we lost Dead Inside, we lost so many teams we expected to make it into the top 2. That scorecard is just completely ripped up and tossed right now. And Nemesis, fortunately, managing to pop off with Revive in the safety of Lava, of all places. Whew. It is getting crazy right now, James.
Smegito is on the floor. He's on his hands and knees now, thanks to Matafe, and the Kraber is on the server, as we can see, in hands of Zeta Division. 69 IQ, I can see having some problems now. RPR dropping K Swinney. I think they may be down to their last man now.
I'll be honest with you, as a Titanfall player and an Apex player myself, that's the one thing you want to avoid out in the field. It's that Kraber. You get a shot to the headshot, that's going to be it for you. It is good night. Heading over to Clean, managing to get another kill. Whew.
Yeah, looking to hold on to this building if they can, at least the bottom half of it. And sometimes you can coexist top to bottom. Just not engage each other and just focus on the other people trying to move into that real estate. But as we can see, they've got to get into that next ring now, as it's going to start moving, and that ring is going to hurt. That much is for sure.
Honestly, and when it comes to that ring, it's going to do a lot of damage, and it looks like Clean is going to be rotating out with the Valkyrie at ultimate right now. seeing if they can get a better spot here, because under that building is good, but that ring moves in, it's going to do some damage, and you get stuck, you are out of luck and out of time to move.
Oh, there's so much happening now. Nemesis in all kinds of trouble. Down to Robin, and he is barely alive at present. Really trying to hold on for his team.
I don't think Roman's going to make it out of here.
But the dome is going to not stop him from dropping, but he will get deleted. I think that one was inevitable. We can see Clean still around this bridge as more teams are trying to rotate in. You see teams just flying out of the sky, trying to find some cover, bombardments and all kind of carnage in this area, but this bridge offers a lot of cover, so they do have a chance to try and hold on to this real estate. But as we can see, more teams are going to start fighting for it, and they're going to keep their shields up. The ring's coming through as well. Again, that ring's going to sting real bad.
Oh, big time. Unfortunately for Nemesis, it was not free real estate. Clean managing to take over the bridge, and Roman was down to 1 HP, could not get the heal, and it was just good night for him. And Reply Totem, I think they're definitely going to want to camp here for a little bit, getting off a couple shield cells, seeing where else they could go. But with that drone detected, they're going to get spotted by another enemy team, maybe even a few more if they start firing off shots. Keep rotating out of this bridge. It is not going to be a fun time for them.
Zeta's division have been chilling here for a while. You know, they've been enjoying it. That ring is on them as well, but they're going to have people coming from all directions. There are 10 squads left and less than 1 minute for them all to converge basically on Zeta's position. So they have to be very, very concerned indeed, looking at every angle. 9 squads now, which means that 8 are going to be coming their way, but maybe less because Guild are trying to do what they can, stopping those caustic barrels from going up. The Peacekeeper just peppering. They're not looking for that meaty damage. They're looking for it, but not quite getting it.
Guild Esports fighting for their life here. Unfortunately, Sika goes down and is going to take some major damage from that caustic gas. Unfortunately, that recover banner, it's up. Unfortunately, not coming back from that. Oh my goodness. Oh, James, this is getting intense. This is getting real nasty. Matapa really low on health right now. He's going to want to pull back and heal up. I don't think it's going to be enough, and it isn't.
He had 4 seconds for his dome to go, and I bet he was begging for that time to come a little faster. Didn't happen, though, and there's still more to be done in this area. Tanking the damage from the Corsic just from as many grenades as possible. And there's the crack he was looking for. Future Perfect. They've got all the players up at the moment, not all with some armor, but you can see the bat being popped there in the meantime. Harassing with the wingman, and we can see there is an Ash on the server here. That may come into play later on if they can survive this situation. But we've still got the Corsic up inside. There aren't no barrels at the moment. They're trying to thurst these kills as there are people crawling all over the place as we're down to 6 squads.
Future Perfect is definitely going to want to push in here. Managing to get a couple downs. Unfortunately, takes it out. Really, I think that was a full squad wipe. Was that?
Well, we're down to 4 now. We're down to 5 briefly. So we've lost 2 in the last 30 seconds. And that ring is going to force them forward. At half health, you really can't be standing in that ring anymore. That zone is going to hurt so much. Reply Totem trying to hold down the high ground as best they can, but there's almost no cover. We've got a rock, and that's about it. Teams coming from both directions. What does Amaz do? Is there any way he can pop this battery? Yes, there is, because the dome is up. That is a clutch dome. Down to the last 4 teams now. Future Perfect, Reply Totem, Zeta, and FigFab.
Again, that Kraber shot coming in clutch, going for 123 damage from Zeta Division. I think Future Perfect might get pinched here, because again, that building definitely inside the ring. One of them goes down.
Zeta just have to sit on this high ground now. It'll drop 1 player to thirst those kills, and now they're down to the last 2 squads. Beautiful, absolutely nowhere for their opponents to hide there. Future Perfect, and now Zeta Division just peppering from range, and that will be the final kill. Well, that was a pretty wild finish to that game. Zeta Division with the high ground. They were chilling in that building right there for most of that. I'm surprised they didn't get converged on. They had 8 teams coming their way with the tiniest ring, but were able to survive, hold that high ground, and shut it down. They left teams with absolutely nowhere to, no cover, nothing. And that will be a huge win for them in this second game. That North zone coming in clutch. 4 gangers, well, they came in 5th place, I believe, and that zone was pretty much good for them. So nice to see that they could deliver a good finish towards the end there.
Honestly, that zone was definitely in one of the most interesting places I've seen in ALGS in a while. Zeta Division coming out on top, which was honestly a surprise, managing to outlive everyone in the lobby. And again, lots of teams like Gambit just did not perform to expectations today, and honestly, a disappointing run for them. And hopefully they get it together in the next match. Who knows? But if I had to be honest with you, that was the equivalent of Duke versus Michigan 2019 NCAA. And I can tell you right now, a lot of people's scorecards, a lot of people's rosters in fire right now and back then. Oh, that was nasty to watch.
Zeta will finish with the same points that 69 IQ got in the first game, 19 with 7 kills. And 69 IQ will finish in 9th place with just 2 points on the board here, so it'll be pretty close towards the top, I do believe. But that was absolute carnage. There was a long period where teams are fighting for very, very few buildings. I love to see that tanking, that caustic damage, throwing those grenades on the inside, trying to force their way into the building. Loba with 5 kills and 1,300. How about that?
My goodness, that Loba coming in clutch, especially with Zeta Division. The fact that they were able to get a hold of a Kraber early in game or even in the middle of the game, right, definitely changed the outcome of how this match was going. As again, people in Apex know full well, once the enemy team gets a hold of a Kraber, it's a lot of hiding, it's a lot of trying to outlive the opponent. And in this case, 135 damage per shot, almost up to 400 for a headshot. Whew. That was nasty to watch, but absolutely fun for Zeta. Just not fun for everyone else in the lobby.
Yeah, and we could see how clutch those Jibby bubbles were towards the end in all that open space, having to get up and get the bats. And we can see what the scores are looking like at the moment. So Zeta Division move up 13 places after the second game of that W to 22 points. Same as Future Perfect, who haven't won either game, but a joint first. So that is something we have to pay attention to and look out for in the games to come. And again, 69 IQ will be in 3rd place, having won the first game, but not picking up all the points in the world in that second game.
Honestly, this game was super important for picking up points. What I was most surprised by the fact that Young Money Guild right now sitting at 0 points in 19th place. That is not looking good for them right now, but oh man. I know one thing for sure, that next match is probably going to be more intense than this one. And if someone manages to find a Spitfire, even an alternator in the care package, 1, I'm absolutely going to be happy. 2, for everyone else, yeah, they might want to watch out.
It is break time. When we're back, it'll be the 3rd game of today, so we've got plenty of action to come. Don't go too far. We'll see you back here shortly.
Lenovo Legion. Gaming PCs that are stylish on the outside and savage on the inside. Lenovo Legion is the official PC and monitor of the Apex Legends Global Series.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and ready to go. What a game 2. It was very interesting, Vicky, to see the way that it all kind of came together with the ending of game 1 and then the beginning of game 2, where we saw Gambit and, of course, Le Rabanu with the heroics there for La Cité France. And then in game 2, we see them both out nearly one after another early on in the match. What was going on?
What a way to shake up the leaderboards, I always say. You know what's also really nice to see for that game number 2, and we also got to see a North Climatizer circle, a North circle, and I feel like I rarely get to see those nowadays. So it's nice to see that mix-up coming in already for game number 2, and you can see in the overall leaderboards, Zeta Division, the squad that has been running Loba, popping off 22 points, moving up 13 spots after that win. And you talk about teams like La Cité France, Gambit being the first 2 teams to drop from that lobby. Look how much they went down in the overall leaderboards for today just because of that. They're tied here for 13 points.
And 69 IQ, a big talking point here. You have K-Swinny and them again performing well, not only having great points early on, but staying in that top 3 position. And Zeta Division, you mentioned, I mean, I love this conversation that we're having about the Loba. It's one thing that one of the things I think in the ALGS Championship last year I mentioned about EMEA, we would time and time again, day in and day out, see a Loba win a final circle. Every single day we'd see a Loba team win. North America never adopted it. To me, it's proven itself that it is a great resource for so many different teams, and it's yet to take on the widespread agreement of every single player in Apex Legends. That's part of the game, but I also feel like maybe there are some teams that are just missing the power of Loba. Do you agree with that?
You know, I like how you bring that up, because I think about Loba compositions and how it's not used as much except for in the EMEA region. You got Zeta, of course, leading the way for this lobby with that Loba comp. But I could definitely agree with that only because of the fact that you have World's Edge, where a lot of these pros, they've been here for so long. This is the map where we get to see a lot of these ALGS teams get that practice in. But I think Loba specifically on World's Edge really benefits off of the loot. You have the loot that where you could also play Edge Circle, you could play safe, you could play end game position too with that character and not get denied loot at any point, where you see a lot of the squads, like for that thermo circle that we saw in game number 1, land in that sniper tower, and then unfortunately that circle did pull away from that spot, but you see a lot of squads immediately land there, and then they don't move. They manage to rack up a lot of damage, racking up their Evo shields, but the one common thing that you see with a lot of those squads that want to take those final positions is the lack of ammo that they have going into the end game, because they wasted it all throughout the rest of the game when they're attacking on that damage. But you know what? Raid, we got game number 3 coming in. We saw the overall leaderboard shaked up a bit. We're going to see if teams like La Cité France or Gambit can make this comeback. 69 IQ also going down the list a little bit. They want to maintain that lead. Looking at Zeta Division, winning that game number 2 is 7 kills overall, just like 69 IQ did in game number 1.
Well, you'll love to see it here. Apex Legends esports at its finest. One of the premier esports in the world, and the world is going to know that very, very soon. They already know it, but I'm talking award season next season. I need to see Apex Legends up there. There's been too many great games, too many great moments for that not to be happening. I'm calling it out, and we will get there. But the great thing about it is you're watching game 3, where as much as a decision can be made on who earns a title one night, a decision has to be made here who earns the victory over the course of 6 games. And so far, we've seen a lot of consistent performances, but some very inconsistent performances. Speaking of the team we just saw there, Gambit looting up. And it will not be a Southern Circle Vicky. It's going to be a Western Circle here, which is going to be interesting, especially looking at the teams rotating from trials. This is a Lava Fisher specialty here, one of my favorite end games. And again, Navi seems to be in a pretty good spot, caught between either that thermal and, of course, that upper Lava Fisher. So they have not too far to go in order to find their place where they're going to play their end game.
Yeah, now that we know where that next circle is going to be pulling, I'm looking at those squads that are in that southern part of the map, looking at that rotation and the congestion that's going to come in from that thermal station side over towards Lava Fisher from the southern side. Expect staging and that choke point from Harvester into Landslide to get contested, as some of these squads do make the rotation from either the eastern part of the map, southeastern part of the map rather, towards that northwestern part. So that's going to be interesting to see for a lot of these squads. And of course, La Cité France starting things off as they usually always do, always landing trials, always trying to get some of that early loot, and maybe even trying to see what some of the actions going down in Skyhook before they are able to make that rotation. But they're going to note here, if they manage to get a beacon, that they're not too far off from where that circle is pulling.
And that's kind of the beauty of it. being able to start off in this way, and also being able to see the Valkyrie not with the rotation specialty, but also the ability to get that recon beacon, one of the fantastic elements of any really high-level competitive player that is going to take the mobility or the scouting role or the mobility role for your team. And this is really where Valkyrie has kind of changed the season. We saw a lot more adoption of the Valkyrie after last season, especially in the championships where it proved vital for an incredible amount of victories and strong rotations. And we're seeing it here. L'Seek de France, however, plenty of time to figure out their rotation style. I always say it's a great thing to loot trials because you end up with a gold backpack, a gold shield, one of those elements, and it's just such an advantage. We really don't mention it. Gold items started, Vicky, in Season 0. Gold items were interesting. You had helmets given lifeline, 1,000,000% health recharge. It was like, you couldn't kill this girl if you tried. But the benefit now of how they've changed and been adapted for pro play is often underlooked. I mean, looting trials for me, free gold items, that has to do, there's a strong impact there that I just think we don't talk about enough. It's one of the reasons why I love that place to land in World's Edge.
Yeah, you see a lot of squads like, Solo Q Goats, you have Team Liquid, you have, of course, L'Seek de France in this lobby that love landing there for a reason because of the guaranteed goal that you were talking about. So that's really nice to note here, especially when you have squads like Zeta Division running the Loba, being able to utilize this black market to deny some loot from these squads that are going to have to force themselves in this rotation because, again, we noted where that circle is going to be pulling. It's going to be a Lava Fisher circle. So it's nice to see here as Zeta Division already take that lead, already have that purple Evo shield, the blue Evo shield, and they're going to be scouting that southern part of the zone to deny a lot of these rotations from these squads, but they have to be careful because this is also a very open spot to get sandwiched, to have more fourth to third parties rotate in here, especially since a lot of these squads from the northern part of the circle are going to be making that rotation from Skyhook Trials over down to Lava Fisher and Countdown.
Always interesting, but bigger picture on what these teams are playing for. You see the NA top 10 there on your side. And is an example of right now, if we went to playoffs, who would be competing in this 20 group lobby. 10 from EMEA, 10 from NA. You see the competition there. As much as you have to compete within your own region, and the pace in EMEA is different than North America, eventually they will clash. And that's just what makes that match point format so exciting when we get into that time. But neither here nor there. A little bit of a bigger state of division, but right now they're focusing on finding their best to achieve a victory yet again, and continuing to place themselves higher and higher on the top of Gibraltar, the Valk. And the Loba, it's getting a little there, would you say, Vicky? People kind of realizing where this circle's ending up, trying to find a spot early.
Yeah, I'm a little claustrophobic here. Look how many squads are in this spot alone. I mean, wasting no time. I think this is a great way to highlight how a lot of these squads have made that quick rotation. You were talking about the redeploy, and we see in late game how that redeploy gets riskier and riskier. Of course, the smaller circle, the more squads that are going to make this rotation, as you can see already here, a lot of these teams wasting no time. And these are the teams, those top 10 teams that want to secure their spot in the overall leaderboards. This is already week number 4. This is already time for these squads to try to finalize these points, because to guarantee yourself a top 10 spot means that you are guaranteed your squad a spot in the playoffs. So that's why a lot of these teams want to make sure that they can rack up as many points as possible, since already week number 4, that time is ticking.
And sometimes you just need that little bit of awareness that, hey, this is it. This is the moment to turn it up. If you don't do it now, what have you been playing for? Sometimes you start out early, but now the stakes are here. They've been raised. That's what makes today so exciting here. Match day 8. Week number 4, Faizu taking a little bit of damage, the ring forcing them in. A lot of teams, as we mentioned, playing in the zone already, but some teams opting to play edge. It's a different strategy, but it will allow them a little bit more versatility as far as not playing with teams behind their back. And if you cannot get a spot early, Vicky, oftentimes it's better to just run with the circle and play with the advantage that you currently have, rather than trying to contest somebody who already is locked down and defensible in a location they want to hold.
Especially looking at how Guild Esports were so quick to make this rotation. Again, this is the squad that we had seen make this rotate, or rather land here in Lava Fisher, and holding this spot right here specifically is trying to deny a lot of these teams from being able to get the information that the beacon provides. And you talked a little bit about the Loba composition. We see the Valk, no Ash, by the way, but we do see Crypto being utilized. So that drone from 2 of those squads that we've seen could get that beacon without really having to overextend, without having to burn a Gibby Dome to be able to safely get that in front of Guild Esports.
Yeah, and these are the types of circles. You're absolutely right, Vicky, where you can utilize crypto more so than some of these other recon legends to take less risks and also use less utility. I talk about one big picture around an ultimate or a utility, a tactical in Apex Legends. The question you need to ask yourself is, how much value are you getting? Are you winning this trade? Because it costs you. It costs you to do that. There's vulnerability. There's opportunities missed in the future if it happens. So are you getting the ultimate payoff? Right now, Arthur says, Randy, I'm getting the payoff. All I need is an R301. I'll make it rain. And right now, the Gibraltar defensive bombardment goes down to deflect any type of advancement off of those damaged shots. Beautiful play. Phoenix Legacy also taking a Wraith portal in and out of it. They're going to hit with a missile strike, but they're behind a rock. This should keep them safe unless they go through the portal. But a Thermite is actually going to put them in trouble. The ordinances are raining down. This is trouble for Phoenix Legacy because now Bear gets hit, and he doesn't have anyone holding down those angles.
And look how far they are, too. Let's take a listen into Phoenix Legacy here as they drop down. They lose one. Actually, we may not even have the chance right now, Rain, to be able to listen to what's happening because they're making their moves to just back up out of the situation. As Savs Bear actually is going to have to give them that space. Let's actually quickly take a look at what Phoenix Legacy is making in terms of comms after losing one of their teammates.
Just make sure they don't come up. Lip can get me with a Q if anything, and res me in zone.
One is close on the rocks.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Just run off, Subs.
Okay. I think they're coming closer, I'm not sure though.
No, we have to go back around and just have to leave him. Oh, fuck me, man.
They can't even take Balloon.
Yeah, we can. Blind the sky up.
Fuck, I was fine. I didn't know that Tortle was like putting us into such a shit spot.
Yeah, but
like, we should have never taken the portal. Never.
Well, a little bit of regret on taking the portal. You can hear Lippin and Savs Bear's final words as they have lost Mr. Arthur. And that is an unfortunate way to start, but doesn't mean that you're out. Of course, we've all seen Tails twist at the end. It makes for the best mysteries, horror films, and also Apex Legends stories. So we'll see if this start somehow bears a different ending for this Phoenix Legacy, as they do not want that legacy to run out here, Vicky.
Yeah, I actually really like the call to just pull out of the situation here, because at the end of the day, even though you've lost one of your teammates here, Phoenix Legacy, they know where the circle's pulling. They saw how far away they were from that next circle, and they didn't want to be put into a situation where they were going to be the first squad to fall in this lobby. Of course, noting that UOO Catboys aren't going to be here to compete anymore. They have disbanded, so already from the start, you have these squads starting with 19 squads. So Gambit Esports, they're not risking it here this time around. They're playing the edge of the onto the roof of it. Noting that there is a squad trying to rotate in this direction, and we saw before that the circle was good over Lava Fisher, so it's just a matter of time before Gambit Esports real, since they don't have beacon control to know where that circle's gonna be.
And Gambit playing a lot safer than they were prior, and the purpose of that really is just when you go down so early after such a great game one, you just have to get back on your feet. You have to, like you say in any sport, hit the ball back a couple of times just to warm up so you can understand how you're swinging, what adjustments you need to make. It's very difficult to drop down in game 2, get taken out, and then suddenly go game 3 and take a fight and feel confident. They've got to reestablish that. And Dead Inside in a really nice position here under the bridge. This is an angle that can get approached from several different spots, but at this point in the game, still with 19 squads remaining, no teams down, it's a great place to hold because you really can play to your backside, and anyone who's going to push you, you're going to see very visibly here and have a chance to fire back.
Yeah, you can see right here, Dead Inside, noting where the circle's pulling. They see another squad. They try to circle keep here, but they're on the low ground of this bridge too. So Dead Inside maybe having to be a little careful, noting that they have Gambit right on the other side of that rock over behind them. So Dead Inside making some noise here while they're still trying to rack up some of this damage to make sure that they can boost up their Evo shield since they're all working off of blues.
An incredibly dangerous team. You do not want to let Stanny get going. Faizu And Kazak with the flat line as well. Dangerous. One big headshot can turn it all and change the TTK like that. And so Gambit as well, playing patiently, as are all teams here. 19 squads left. You know how Europe does. We save it till the end, baby. And we just slow boil, we slow roast. It's like what you're going to be doing with your turkey if you're from America in a few days. You're just going to be letting that thing sit and marinate for a while, and you know it's going to be smelling good when it comes out of the oven, and that's just what it looks like in an EMEA lobby. We have to set up these storylines, but eventually, oh man, it will be time to eat.
Hey, you say marinate, and I'm a little hungry right here. 4 gang now.
Did I do it to you? Yeah, no.
Yeah, right? I mean, you know what? They
Doing
seem like you're just, you can't just do that to me. Just like 4 gang right now, already rocking the red Evo, putting in some damage, already securing that KP. And look where Zeta Division is. They have not moved from this spot, quite literally from the very beginning. So 4 gang coming in with red Evo, 2 purple. That's going to be something to note if Zeta Division wants to gatekeep this spot, because they're still working off of white Evo, as they're going to be able to take some extra shots and find that break inside the car.
Yeah, legit Lolly. Good crack there. That upper bridge is actually very, very strong in terms of holding. I've seen a lot of fights in where the upper bridge team can actually stay alive, but they cannot take any damage. The benefit is, though, because they have that angle, it's going to take a lot of resources for a team, unless you are playing a Pathfinder, which is not a part of the EMEA meta right now, to get up there and finish off that KP. And so it's really the safest spot in this area to be able to do damage, level up Evo shields, but luckily Ro Yup Yup, as you mentioned, do not have to do that alongside most of 4 gang, who are already on their final Evo shields, especially with Phoenix there, and legit Lolly with the 30-30 repeaters and the 2 to 4 times scope. My favorite for this weapon as well. Aside from the Ranger, I like the 3 times. It's just to each his own, but I think the benefit of the long range here, especially in these poke battles leading up in EMEA before you get into the final fight, it's a little bit more advantageous for them, Vicky.
Yeah, and 4 gang looking fantastic with this damage that they're putting down. They look like they're playing with a lot of confidence, building up some of that momentum. Why don't we take a listen in actually to 4 gang to see what their next plans are, after noting that there are some squads blocking their spot and they're about to get sandwiched right now.
Oh, it's not out.
Play in the bubble. Do you see them?
Yeah, then the car, this way. I think he's spawning.
Yeah, past us here.
Not have close secret.
It's in the open, Fuck, I went on top. I went on top.
I think I try spots in here.
Don't get knocked.
Playing to not get knocked here. They're in a car past us now.
That's fine, we can bully them easily.
There's a Valkyrie behind us as well.
Sure, bro, you have more problems to deal with than us.
I need to kill now, to kill this team because of the fucking mats.
What mats you need?
Just shields. I'm 1-5.
Race almost crack.
We'll drop your bat thing.
Can we push it to the cart?
I don't know.
I can play here.
Okay, just careful across the tracks, yeah?
Crack one. I'm biting.
Where are they?
Behind, like where Kenji played the other day.
Are they still behind that?
Yes.
I can ult it.
What's their comp? I stunned 2.
Race Valkyrie.
Okay, no, don't ult. Do you have nade, anyone?
No.
Do you have cost gold?
No. 10%.
Okay, when we have cost gold, you give builds, okay? When we're like 3%, just call it, bro.
I need to back.
Call your percentage, bro. Keep calling it.
93. Okay.
What are you at? Give build.
Not have says them, guys.
A lot of great communication here from Phoenix, holding on to that Gibby ult, making sure that they're calming percentages, things that all high-level teams need to do in this high-level chess match of a BR. 16 squads remaining, but the space, as we mentioned, gets tighter and tighter. And there is Ro Yup Yup as well with the Caustic Ultimate. Vicky, they've got a lot of options, and the Valkyrie may be the best legend in terms of getting them to the right spot to use those options. But again, it's getting a little bit late in terms of making that skyward dive. So they're going to have to fight their way through this most likely, otherwise find the perfect spot to land once that ultimate gets used.
Yeah, and you can see on the kill feed too, a lot of these squads finding these fights closer to where the circle is going to be pulling towards Lava Fissure. So 4 gang noting that they're also getting shot at too. They note where some of these squads are going to be rotating from the southern point of the map, and if they don't find themselves rotating quickly, they may find themselves sandwiched off behind them. That's why they're getting shot at. I'm not too sure that's Zeta Division, but Reply Totem, the squad, another squad that's actually running as a duo here too, but they're not too low on loot. You can take a look at the 2 purple Evo shields at the very least, and maybe the decision to utilize the bombardment to actually cut off that rotation from that squad.
It's an interesting use of the bombardment. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's not quite forcing any damage yet. Maybe a little bit delayed, could have found some kills, but it might have just been a day late and $1 short on that one to get the action. Now Case when he throws it in, this bombardment might actually have some damage or at least force people to hide inside, and that's exactly what you want because 69 IQ Esports just made a 200 IQ play. You can't go outside, buddy. It is time to come in. Dinner's ready. Oh, and the meal, it's a bunch of bullets from my flat line. How about that? Forgot to give you the details. Great stuff from 69 IQ. They cleaned that one up.
Oh, you love to see it here with the big brain play. So Teacher France, though, in a bit of a sticky situation as they've lost 2. It's only up to Joke, who's trying to play down the knockdown shield. He gets the crack, but the Thermite is going to put in a lot of pressure. He's forced to hold back and take the portal that he made for himself for some extra insurance.
And he's got the low ground. They know where he's at. Tries to get the shield battery off. He's going to take it up one more time. Did they commit down low to give him a chance? No! The circle will shut him off. Not as Sincere, a team we had mentioned before. Max Strafe, Korea, Nesh. We know they love to play these circles so patiently and so efficiently. They are the team that would be the doctor, the surgeon, so to speak, in Apex Legends, where they do things by the book and they don't make mistakes. But the question is, can they make the right incision? Can they find the time to actually go ahead and take control of this lobby, or will they sit back and be taken control of? That's the real issue, as Dead Inside, Gambit, as well as TTM, Totem Esports, still alive and well in this lobby, alongside Dead Inside, who can play with their back against the zone. Sometimes a benefit. Right now, though, running into Gambit and 69 IQ may not be such a benefit for them.
Look at this rack cam that we got for Reply Totem. I'm surprised no one's seen him. He's just hugging the rock right there. Dead Inside, though, want a piece of the action. Force themselves off to the side. Oh, but it's not your Caustic Gas. Dead Inside, maybe a little bit of a miscommunication there as you can't see whether it's your friendly Caustic Gas or not. And of course, you got Reply Totem still securing some KP. Don't want to reveal themselves as Clean now have moved their way into this third party as a 2-man squad still.
Dead Inside, well, they are dead inside. And Clean, they're outside looting all these boxes as well. Sometimes the namesake doesn't do you well in Apex Legends, but Gambit Esports, well, if there's ever a time to bet on yourself, this is it, because you can see Leogri and Hardeki want to push out of this bubble. They want to find that team on the backside and just fire a couple of bits of wingman shots, flat lines. They have the zone pushing in, forcing an engagement, but he's got to hit that. He hits it, it's shield. But then the other one was Flesh, but the Valkyrie is able to escape up on the high ground. They're getting pushed on the low ground as well. They've got to stay alive here and chase the KP. Vicky, 5 squads left. Gambit trying to make something happen. But Max Strafe and Navi seem to be going down thanks to G-Dolphin and Clean.
Yeah, Navi going down, the duo coming in, G-Dolphin leading the way. Navi now just down 1 member, make it 2 here. It's only up to Kohio who's going to go down 2. Fake Fam, one of the squads that have made some adjustments here now coming in. Clean also playing as a duo. So many of these squads are playing as a full trio here. Minus Gambit that we just noted that was on the low ground. You can see the last remaining squads here as they fight it out. 3 squads left, Clean hugging this rock.
Clean playing absolutely phenomenally, but if they are going to win this, they have to be cleaner than ever. I'm talking spick and span. There cannot be a speck of unused material, dirt on the washer. It's got to be something so clean you could eat off it, because they're facing against Gambit, who has 3 members alive and are playing on the low ground. Gambit now trying to force an engagement between Clean, who have 2. And of course, you can see over there, GMT, Badoli, Surdell, Nasky, Gambit, Hardeki hitting the shots. Clean, unlucky, he goes down, but it's not luck at all. It's the shots from the alternator and the wingman headshots from Gambit that are doing it. Vicky, 3 squads left. Gambit looks like they might be making their move here.
Yeah, they're playing here off to the side. They managed to get that KP. You see Hardeki rocking the kill leader. That's why we highlighted him earlier in the pre-show. And now Gambit Esports facing off in this 3v3. They're trying to wrap the corner here. Last squad remaining, but Hardeki wants to capitalize off the situation. Playing out of the Caustic Trap. He gets the shield swap. Oh, Hardeki, he still goes down. That PK is too strong. So you got the rest of Gambit Esports making their move.
Oh, and the alternator cleans it up. They alternate kills, but at the end of the day, it's just Gambit things, betting on themselves, and it pays big. This is how you do it in EMEA. You drop down first, second in round 2, and in round 3, you come back and win the game. What a statement from Gambit. It's the team we all picked to win today, and certainly a performance like that, clutch, execution to a T, and also the willingness to commit and make a moment happen is the reason why.
Double digits too. Can we talk about those 10 kills? We saw Hardeki popping off earlier. He had gotten 7 kills. I think with that last one, probably make it 8 kills by the very end. And then you got the rest of Gambit Esports popping off. How do you go from being the first squad to go down in game number 2 to being the squad to win? But you know what? I think that highlights EMEA perfectly because Gambit still had that 3rd place game in game number 1, making that huge turnaround. But is that second game gonna bite them in the behinds at the very end? We're gonna have to see after coming out of this win.
Well, you know, I also got to mention FigFam, the way that they've been playing. They found themselves in top 4, top 3, and even top 2, I feel like definitely a top 5 in almost every single game. So they're putting good points on the board. A nice showcase from Navi as well. They weren't able to do it. This is my big issue with this team. They're so consistent and so good at playing Apex Legends, but they lack that incisiveness, that big opener moment that could allow them to do what we saw Hardeki and Leogri do. The big wingman shots, the big push from Hardeki that opens things up for Leogri and Artico to really get those big wins. But I think Not a Sincere, obviously 23rd outside of the top 20. I think this is an opportunity for them to maybe start to crawl their way back if they keep playing like this. But here's the story of the day. Hardeki, Vicky. Look at that.
Look how much damage Hardeki did. That wingman shot's clicking on all these heads. 5 kills, 2,000 damage. And then no front here. You got to look at the rest of Gambit following up so well. You saw at the very end, Hardeki starting that push. He was the entry fragger in that situation. And that's really important to note where you know you're going to have the insurance of your squad backing you up. You know that it is that prime moment to push in. Don't let the opposing squad heal up and just reset in that moment. And Hardeki took that initiative, leading the way for the other members of Gambit to push forward.
It's a great opportunity for us to see exactly why Gambit and I think Apex Legends is what it is, because you see the way these teams are performing, and you have to have the ability to take a big loss, and that's something that you don't often see teams bounce back from. We've seen it across EMEA, we've seen it across North America. Being able to bounce back from a loss after 3, after 4 games, but not only that, after 1 game and come back and win again, this is really what I think makes Gambit scary, and their ability to clutch these last fights. It's one of those things that separates them from the pack when it's all said and done.
And you know who I'm curious to hear some thoughts from? I'm curious to hear from Fallout here because we just finished game number 3 and it's looking spicy in these lobbies. Fallout, what are you thinking after that?
There's so much to dissect right there, Vicky. What a game 3 that was. And it just goes to show, even though it may be a little sad to see all 5 of us predict Gambit, it happened for a reason. That is why. They played that to perfection. Insane gameplay, and Hardeki in particular, with 2k damage. The way he was able to push that fight, slow things down, reset, and then re-enter that fight. I mean, Rainday, break it down for me. What makes Hardeki so special?
I think Hardeki's ability to put everything on his back and say, I'm going to make this moment happen for my team. It's one of the best things you can have when you play a team sport. We've all grown up playing sports, but if you play at a high level, you understand if someone's willing to take all that pressure, it gives you a tremendous sense of relief as the players playing with him, because you can approach that fight with a little bit more of a wiggle room to make a mistake, a little bit more knowing eyes aren't on you. You don't have to overperform, but in that way, you're free, and you can then perform at probably a better level than if you were tense and had a lot of pressure on you. So, you know, he plays such a vital role, not just with his mechanical skill, but just the freedom he offers for his teammates to be able to follow up without the eyes on them.
Yeah, you know, someone who's played and been that guy for his teams in the past, Rainday, it's good to get your perspective on that. Vicky, we're taking a look at the highlights here from game number 1. It wasn't really Gambit on top of game number 1 necessarily. They got 3rd place, had a solid game. Game 2, they quieted down a little bit, but it was future perfect Zeta, but ultimately 69 IQ that started strong, Vicky.
Yeah, it was all thanks to Lenovo, who was on that high ground too, to be able to clutch that up for Lecito France to get that 2nd place. But 69 IQ having way more members up here. You can see, despite even taking some damage from the circle, they came out on top. This is the same squad that wants to make sure that they can try to maintain that lead. But after game number 2, it's seeing how a lot of these other teams are playing out. It's interesting to note teams like Gambit, Zeta now coming out on top. 69 IQ, they won game number 1 with 7 kills, but you know, so did Zeta Division at the very end of game number 2, where they closed it out winning and with 7 kills on top of that.
Yeah, that's right. This is game 2 where we just saw Gambit get taken out 19th place to the likes of Totem, or probably Totem Esports. So Gambit fell early in game 2. Outside of that, Rainday, what was the key storyline for you in game 2?
Game 2, I think the fact that we had, you know, the leaders kind of drop, and then we had to see Zeta Division actually have an incredible performance. We see the Loba again making a huge kind of impact in EMEA, and it begs the question, why don't we see this in North America? It's one of those things that just drives me crazy when you've got not only tape on it working, you've got data, you've got statistics, you've got basically double-blind clinical peer-reviewed trials that say Loba is good. So we just don't see it across the board, but I do love seeing it in EMEA. It makes it special.
hit the nail on the head. Zeta's able to clean up, finish first place. 7-kill game for the Loba-led Zeta. Taskmaster, formerly from Magicians, leading the way on Loba. 9 Impulse, formerly from Navi. And Sunset used to play on Gambit Esports, actually, way early on before Leogri got picked up. Zeta goes huge in game number 2. And then, of course, we have game number 3, which y'all casted. Vicky, walk me through it.
Just to highlight here, just looking at the way that Gambit played that way safer, they noted what had happened in game number 2. I mean, of course, they were the first squad to go down after getting 3rd place in game number 1, kind of displaying that inconsistency that they may be facing right now, and maybe finding that momentum now after taking that game number 3. So, you know, you're highlighting Hardeki in general being the IGL to really lead the way for Artico and Leogri. So, like, I want to see that more from Gambit, just playing the edge a lot more patiently. Look at the way that they were able to even play that cover. That one single wingman shot, doing it in for Hardeki for against a lot of these teams that had to make the rotation from the southern part of zone. And I think that's something else that's really important to note is the zone that we had to witness. From a lot of these squads, they were used to either going in the last game towards that climatizer zone, and then we had the zone pull all the way west towards Lava Fissure. So you had a lot of teams getting contested, moving away from staging.
Yeah, and then Ray Day walked me through this late game from Hardeki and how brilliant it was. I'm glad we have a chance to analyze it.
The only reason it's brilliant is because the man's using it 2 times on a wingman. I mean, what the heck? How can you hit your shots with that, bro? I mean, that's impressive in itself for anyone who's played Apex Legends. But the fact that he hits so many of those shots, clutches up, and then offers the opportunity to 1v2. I mean, and he gets the shield swap, which was a beautiful moment, a technical moment. He saves himself a little bit longer, forces the crypto to come in, and then at that point, it's just an alternator cleaning up the fight with Leogri pushing around the left side. It was a beautiful take and a great initiation by Hardeki.
Yeah, well said. And to me, the brilliant play was actually before that, when there were 3 teams, that awkward 3-team standoff, right? You never want to be the first team to fight, because then you're going to get third party, and the third team's going to win. But the way that Hardeki initiated that fight on clean, knocked one, dipsetted out of that fight to get the other team, GMT, to try and commit to that fight, thinking they had the third party, was just brilliant. That's just things that Hardeki and only Hardeki does in the EMEA side of things, and it shows how great he is. And as a result, let's take a look at the overall standings for the day and see what that does for Gambit. Guess what? Our predictions are looking pretty solid right now. 35 points for Gambit. That was a massive game number 3. They go up 6 places to first. 69 IQ in their debut with Case winning on this roster. I was looking forward to this team. This is one I had circled on my list coming into this one, and they are looking great, Vicky.
Yeah, I like the way that Gambit also just moved up 6 spots after that win. They were dominating the lobby here, too. You talk about 69 IQ also moving up a spot with a way better performance there in that game 4. I mean, overall, they've been on fire here. Integrating that new player has really worked out for 69 IQ. As you can see, after that game 1, being able to take that and even being able to clutch it out with 7 kills really highlights that 69 IQ want to carry on that momentum and even making some swaps, looking at FigFam, too, climbing up the board and being able to secure that 3rd place spot. But look how close it is in terms of points between all these teams so far, shoulder to shoulder, with any of these squads having that one good game to boost themselves up the leaderboards.
Yeah, what's so impressive to me there is of those top 5 teams, 4 of them are CIS, coming from Eastern Europe, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine. That is insane. Just goes to show CIS on top in competitive Apex, with Gambit leading the way in first place. FigVam, Zeta, the others that are also in that list, in that contention. Big shot to 69 IQ, holding it down for the UK, though, in Western Europe. But again, a massive, massive performance for Gambit in game number 3. We're going to go ahead and get started with game number 4 here in a moment. Before we do that, we want to hear your thoughts, not just us as casters and analysts that like to break down gameplay. I love hearing people like Birdie and Lion and Leo the Lion and so many others on Twitter and on Twitch give us their opinions. So make sure to follow us at Play Apex Esports on Twitter. Follow our YouTube channel, Play Apex Esports. By the way, the YouTube channel has been lit lately. There's been some awesome content, so make sure to check that out. Big shout out to my man Charles Workey. And of course, on Twitch, if you're watching, Play Apex. Let us know your thoughts. Always use the hashtag ALGS and tweet at us. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well. At Fallout with 2 T's, at Rain Day Gaming, and at Vicky Kitty. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well, and we'll read some of those tweets on stream if we can. But we're gonna go ahead and get ready for a quick break here. When we come back, we got Ash, we got James Bardoff ready to cast game number 4 after this.
PGL is the official broadcast partner of the Apex Legends Global Series NA and EMEA Pro League.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, and where on earth have you been? We are into game number 4 now. We are at the halfway mark here of EMEA action, and if you haven't been tuned into the entire broadcast, we have a new commentator with us, and her name is Asherblock. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. We had a lot of exciting plays today, especially from Gambit, who came in clutch that last match. Was not expecting to hit that. However, first couple of matches was kind of brutal for them. Got off to a very rough start, especially falling in the first 5 minutes of match 1. I believe so. And yeah, just getting outplayed by a lot of other teams. So that was pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, it was the second one where they went out in last place, which is 19th place today. Again, if you are joining us late, then the Cat Boys have disbanded, so we've got 19 teams on the server. But Wingdecky was certainly in action in that previous game. We'll see if he can have a repeat performance in game number 4. The urgency towards the end was brilliant, standing in the caustic gas, doing what needed to be done for the team. And they'll go for that instant scan immediately to find out where the ring is headed. And we've had some interesting rings today. We've had some northern rings, some western rings, and I do wonder if the southeastern guys will maybe get something in their favor. I was pretty impressed with Dead Inside in that last game because they're landing in Dome, and they had to go all the way to pretty much this position last game as well, and they made it pretty deep. And the question now is, can they do it again?
And honestly, this ring is looking pretty interesting. I think we're getting a little close over to Lava Fissure and Bloodhound Trials, I believe, where some people have already landed. But my goodness, it is probably going to get claustrophobic in a few minutes, especially with so many teams at Harvester and Fragment. I'm seeing a lot at Skyhook too, and we're going to have to see where this goes. Yeah,
we can see some of the uninhabitable areas of that ring now. There's a lot of rock that you can't stand on. And sure, you could maybe go for a late Valcolt and drop on somebody after being out of bounds for a while, but there isn't as much space as it looks like in that area, so that's going to be very interesting indeed once we get there. But that's going to be a while. For now, we're going to have everyone looting, and you can see the Prowlers are being dealt with for that gold loot, that purple loot, which is always good. But again,
yeah, I was going to say, a pattern I have been noticing, LCDF landing a lot in Bloodhound Trials, and I've got a feeling one of these days that's going to backfire. They're going to get another team landing on top of them, and it is going to be carnage in those first few seconds of trying to loot. I'm honestly surprised they haven't fallen already to someone following them, but getting a gold backpack, that's definitely going to come in handy later. And purple shields, although I am a little worried, only one of the 3 members of LCDF right now rocking a purple shield, one with blue and one with white. That's going to leave them a little vulnerable later on.
Yeah, they can evo that to blue. Oh, there's plenty of purple ones here, so they'll just loot up and get their bits and bobs, and then come in to pick up the armor and such afterwards. There's a gold backpack for Jibby as well, which is always very useful. So things are looking good for Le Site de France at present. And again, once they get the ring information, then it'll be pretty interesting to see if they choose to sit on top, and that might be loot dependent as well, depending on what they have. You may want some longer range weapons for that kind of thing, but there's a few buildings for them to loot in as well, and we can see they want to extend their range in that regard and try and get a few more tools. But yeah, once we get to that green ring, things are going to become very interesting indeed.
Honestly, once that green ring hits, it's going to get definitely claustrophobic for a lot of teams here, especially once you have a lobby filled with Gibraltar, still with so many caustics, that Nox grenade going off, and then you have the Gibby bubbles and pretty much aerial bombardments off the top. That's going to be really tricky to navigate, but with plenty of race in the lobby too, you're going to make a couple of good escapes, but we're going to have to wait and see where that ends in pretty much the final ring. And you see Gambit Esports heading over to Harvester, probably trying to see if they can pick off anyone. And Dead Inside getting off a couple items in the replicator, probably a couple heals here. And I think Navi might be in a bit of a pinch here, James.
That does not look good. They better pray that no grenade comes their way, as they're all trying to heal up at the moment. And again, they are very, very squishy indeed. 2 of their players with white armor, and they just can't keep their shields up. Again, just a few bullets going their way, and they're down to half shields already. So this is not an ideal situation for them at all. This is extremely awkward.
Honestly, wait a minute. Did we just already get our first squad wipe of the game?
Yeah,
that was fast.
Yeah, very fast indeed. So it seems that there's more than one team in an awkward position. Where do Na'Vi go? Like, what direction? I'm I'm so curious what they're thinking at the moment, because they're going to try and head somewhere. Even if they went for a Val cult, where would they do it?
Yeah, I was gonna say Navi in a really precarious situation right now. If they get pinched by at least, well, let's be honest, they're already pinched in between two teams right now. It is gonna get very serious. If they get hit by one Arc Star, even a Crypto EMP, it's gonna be over for them. And they need to be very careful in their positioning and where they're gonna run to.
You can see GMT playing down the side now. They've got some grenades coming their way as well, but they've also got a Crypto, so that can give them a little confidence, and that harassment on Navi is going to continue. I can't imagine how many shield cells they'll even have left at this point, but there are problems also for GMT on the high ground as down goes Zerdel, and Badoli's naked, trying to get the shield up as fast as he can, but he'll get knocked as well, so now it's down to Nasty Natsuki to try and keep his team alive. Harassment coming through from the Valkyrie, and I don't see how he survives this. Out they go.
And it won't be enough for Nasky. Unfortunately, GMT going down very quick. I'm surprised Navi is still alive somewhere in the background here. Not at all. There's a lot of teams going at each other, including fanboys, trying to see if they can get off a couple shots here. That R301, unfortunately, not connecting to anyone. And it's just the waiting game right now. Oh, there goes Navi.
Where do they go, though? As a second question, because this is a pretty busy area, but they may have found themselves a building. They've at least found themselves a corner, and that's just about more than they had previously. So a chance for a breather now, but I think they're going to need some shield cells, because I can't imagine they've got much left after that harassment that they had from the Crypto drone and everything before that.
Very true. Here I am thinking they were going to have to fight for this spot. Fortunately, no one was occupying the building. However, with the Crypto drones coming out, Navi, it may get spotted pretty early, and I think they already have by the Claudion fanboys. And that drone may come out in a second. And that EMP, they might want to try and push Navi here. But it's going to be pretty dangerous. But then again, with Navi and a lack of shield cells, maybe even health, it is going to become hard for them to defend that spot. And they're probably going to want to run in a hot second if that EMP comes out. Uh-oh.
More fact-finding with the Crypto drone. And we haven't seen too much of scars on our screens just yet, but we can see that they're relatively comfortable for now with some overhead cover. RPR, Mandy, and Tai Sheen just having a look at the climate of things. They're fine as far as the ring is concerned, but they'll have to keep an eye on the climate around them as well. And look at the teams which are starting to rotate in.
Yeah, doesn't look like Scars has ran into anyone yet. However, they may get it. Oh, that is definitely a hit on Taishin with that charge rifle, pulling back to heal up. They've only got one kill so far, I believe so, 446 damage. Trying to see if they can spot anyone with the charge rifle on the scope. However, they're going to want to be careful here. And the last thing they need to do is get third-partied by another team.
We're going to have a listen in with Scars and see what they're up to at the moment.
The beacon, I'm not shooting at them. I just want to look where they're going to go. If they come to us, it means it pulls to us. If they go north, it means it pulls north. Or I mean, it could also mean that they're just stupid and don't know where it goes.
No.
There's teams fighting here, no name. Okay, I'm looking at them. They're moving north side. Let's see. I'm going to keep looking at them.
We'd also keep playing here, and then third party, these teams are fighting up here because they have to go up, you know?
Yeah. I'm just looking at this team. They're coming here. They're coming here to this building. It's a Caustic team. Caustic, Gibby, Valk. Yo, this team is kind of coming towards us. They're going to play this building now.
Do I come to you guys?
Yeah, I think we should all look our back and play these rocks and shit. There's also, keep it on. Yeah, there's people there.
Yeah, everywhere right now.
Okay, we need to, like, this Caustic team, I think. Yeah, they're on the roof of this building. They want to come to us. They know the zone comes to us. I'm pretty sure. They're going to Valk it over or something. There's also a team here. There was two teams here actually fighting.
Yeah, I see one here.
Yeah, okay. I think this kind of like proves our point that this is going to us if these guys are playing on the building.
Yeah,
or they just don't know how to play and they're just playing on the building.
We're chill here, right? For a long time.
Yeah, you guys watch the back. I'm gonna go look around a little bit. I'm gonna look around into what's this place called? Landslide?
They know we have a double purple red, gold now, I think.
Mandy, did you
lose
lose
the truck is open.
What? No, I didn't. It was looted before.
People below countdown. This truck is open, but trucks are terrible. But it's open, even though it's terrible. But it's something to think about.
Yeah. Let's see what next one goes, I guess, and then we'll pick up a bunch of kills on this side, hopefully.
Team here.
You heard it from Scars, trucks are officially terrible. But also, it's quite interesting that they're looking at the rotation based on the behavior of their opponent, depending on what they think their IQ is, if they can identify which team it is, which is pretty entertaining. But we've got a lot of action for 69 IQ. Speaking of IQ, as they've got bridge problems now, a lot of action coming their way.
And 69 IQ, one of their players down immediately, the aerial bombardment, and so many grenades coming in to just hit them with a lot of damage. Their Caustic Slayers is in need of a little bit of health right now. Oh! The beam with a Volt from Smegito. That's a lot of damage.
Stereo Valk queues from either side of the bridge. And we heard about the trucks earlier on, and that is not something you see every day. Missiles coming from both directions.
Those trucks can either be a savior or literally the worst thing on the planet. You get stuck in one, you're gonna get beamed. If you manage to be in one while an aerial bombardment is coming down, that's a lifesaver big time. And Gambit Esports looking like they are in a definite pinch here. 2 members down, it's over for them.
Borg Gang have utterly deleted them.
Wow.
17th place, that's another difficult finish for Gambit. Very unfortunate for them, but 4 Gang have created a little space for themselves. As we can see, this area is still very busy. Bombardments going down. We've got people on the high ground as well. So we saw Na'Vi here earlier, and maybe 4 looking slightly more comfortable than they were, but by no means is it ideal.
And interestingly enough, that was the same spot that Gambit fell in. That was the same spot that Na'Vi was in just not too long ago. And of course, for that team, it proved to be disastrous as they fell immediately to 4 Gang. Which they're probably going to try and see if they can get another couple of kills here, although it is going to be tricky. Teams coming out of left and right. So many shots going off out of everywhere. They may want to reposition here as they're going to get pinched in the same place both Na'Vi and Gambit got in a few minutes ago. And as you can tell, it did not end well for the latter.
Yeah, not much cover in terms of the incline of the ground either, so you can't even really like hide in plain sight so much. And again, we can see the concerns just in all the directions. Roey's looking high above him, far beyond him, to his left as well. Like, there's just so many potential places that they're exposed to with a little jiggle left and right. They do have a Valk, but trying to rotate is another question. But again, that position has proven very awkward for multiple teams. And we see some bow check action, maybe for the first time today.
Honestly, I haven't seen the bow check action in a hot minute. The bow check with shatter caps and Dead Eye's template, which especially can be pretty useful. You've essentially got bow and arrow shotgun, but from far away, it is pretty tricky to land your shots unless you're an absolute aim god.
This is a pretty clean bow check though. This is like a broke check. There's no upgrades whatsoever. Just a plain old bow check with 18 arrows. Good luck.
This is a untoasted bread with no butter. Disappointing, tasteless, however, can go a long way, but still, this is going to be pretty sad.
We've got to call that a broke check, man. That's like, that doesn't seem ideal. But we'll see what he can do with it.
Though.
Yeah.
Broke check. And 4 Gang, again, still in this spot. I'm not so sure it's going to end well for them. If another team sees them from the left, that's going to be a bad day. If another team sees them from the right, and they get in between those two, whew. They better pray. They better pray very, very hard.
So Claudio and fanboys they've been chilling for a while. They are not going to unnecessarily expose themselves. Maybe just have a quick look outside and see what's going on. But there's been so much action, so many bullets flying in this position. You might be crazy to put yourself out there unless you needed to.
True, and that crypto drone is going to pick up a lot of useful info here, and especially with that EMP ready, they can push if need be, but it looks like Zeta Division is in another firefight at the moment. That Loba, ooh, James, when I tell you, Loba always comes in clutch in the most dire of situations, especially when it comes to picking up loot. That is going to help right now for Zeta Division. If they need extra shields, shield cells, whatever they need, especially stuck in truck. Oh.
How on earth are Young Money Guild going to make their way forward? They are stuck. That ring's going to start moving in soon, and they've got to press forward. So they're going to have some serious problems here. There's some peppering happening, but again, they're gatekeeping a different team now, but they're going to have to fall back themselves. Red armor, but it's starting to get very, very low indeed, and they've really got to run now. The ring's coming through as well, but the health is up for the time being. They've trying to keep up that pace, and whoever's behind them are going to be in all kinds of trouble. Look at the kill feed. Let's see the France putting in work now as we start to lose more teams. Down to 14 at present.
All right, down to 14 squads left. Young Money Guild managing to outrun the ring narrowly. Buck got caught a couple times, taking a little bit of damage. Fortunately, managed to outrun it. But it looks like Lacity France might be able to get off a couple shots here on another team. However, considering the spot there, and they might get gatekeeped in a second by a few others. And again, time is going to only have to tell. Oh, James, what do you think is going to be in that care package? Oh,
shield battery, a med kit, and a respawn beacon.
All right, hear me out, hear me out. Care package? Kraber! Maybe at least a Spitfire! Everyone's dream! Who knows? God, it would be nice to see the Spitfire after so long. But dead inside, up top, God spotting. Actually, they're gonna heal a little bit, getting off a couple shots of the charge rifle. That flatline, unfortunately, not connecting. One team on that tower is getting sandwiched in between so many.
That's cheating! Oh. They got all the way in. Is it even open yet? So there's a Spitfire there.
My God.
That's cheating, man. That's like telling me the end. Do you know what that's like? When people are going to see the Harry Potter movie, right? And someone's outside going, Dumbledore dies! That's what that is. You're just ruining the suspense, man.
I predicted it.
Okay,
I knew it.
Never mind.
I knew it! Finally, the
Well, there's a med kit there, at
Spitfire
least.
coming into
I was
play.
praying for the med kit. The med kit's really what I wanted to see.
True, but if Zeta Division manages getting close to the Loba ult, they might actually be able to swipe the Spitfire, so denying everyone else in the lobby a chance at pretty much spraying and praying while also beaming down people from up top. That's going to be fun to watch.
One thing that's also pretty cool with the cryptos is that you can send a drone to go and open their care package to see what's there, which is A, you find out what's in there, but B, you could also maybe suggest that someone has taken their care package, because of course everyone can see that it's been opened. We see more bombardments, but they're just about being dodged. But surely these two teams are going to be fighting soon. L'Équipe de France, they're going to have the slightest edge to play with. I don't know if they'll be able to stay up here without being exposed. There's a lot of long-range weapons. We've got the scouts out. We've got some snipers as well. The charge rifles on deck. And these guys are going to have to move off this platform as well. So 14 squads, but not for long.
Honestly, it looks like all the teams in the lobby right now playing the long-range game, especially with the charge rifles, longbows, maybe even a little bit of the Kraber, which I don't believe is out yet, and lots of snipers, even the 30-30, trying to see if they can poke off a lot of opposing teams right now. And with the crypto drone, right, like you said, super helpful, can fool teams into thinking that care package has been open. Even on Storm Point, you can aggro prowlers into distracting and going after enemy teams. Exceptionally useful, and it looks like the EMP, multiple EMPs and a Nox grenade are gonna go down here, and I believe we just lost a couple members of Lacity France.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got even bigger problems now, as I think Young Money Guild are having some problems. 12 squads remaining now, and again, that ring has caused all kinds of problems. We had a bombardment off of the platform just to try and create some space to rotate through. And now we've got people holding on for dear life. L'Équipe de France still up for the time being, but as we can see that not all these teams can survive in this position. L'Équipe de France still up top.
We just saw a few seconds ago a couple members of Navi going down. I believe there's only one team member left. If not, that might be the end of them. Who knows? But L'Équipe de France on a god spot here right now, beating down anyone who even tries to come into sight. And they better be careful. That ring is moving in exceptionally close. It's going to do a lot of damage in just a few seconds here.
Yeah, this is a question for L'Équipe de France at the moment, is that they can't hide on the other side of this, so they're crouching for dear life. But it seems they are getting the better of it at the moment. And again, they've got Wraith here as well, which again, the portal can be quite useful for skirmishes, hopping down, coming back up again, or even just trying to rotate in, as again, 30 seconds away, 10 squads. Look at that ring in the top left corner. 10 squads are not surviving in that ring. I'd be surprised if 5 even make it. This is wide open. If you're lucky, you've got a little wall to hide behind, but apart from that, there are going to be problems. We can see the Wraith portal is coming through now as it's time to get moving.
Oh no, there goes L'Équipe de France. They're going against Scars. It looks like they might have been caught in crosshairs of Mendy and Taishin. Who knows how this is going to go? That bolt connecting for a lot of damage. But it looks like L'Équipe de France in trouble here. That Gibraltar bubble going out just in the nick of time as an aerial bombardment comes in the distance. Who knows where Scars is at the moment? And it looks like they're trying to dance in and out. And oh no.
Oh, L'Équipe de France, they're going to have trouble with one player, but they've got 2 up, and maybe they've just got to leave him to die at this point, because again, that ring is closing as we speak, and there's going to be carnage all over the place. They lose a second player now, and we've got 4 gang problems as well. Legit Lolly getting dropped, and I think there's a good play from almost every team across the moment, but not for Scars. They've got 3 men up, people walking into portals. I can't imagine they're going into, staying inside the ring with that portal, but we've got problems all over the place. The dome is up for Scars, and they've got time to bat now. With all this action, they've found a little space for themselves underneath that dome, and there are still somehow 10 squads up. Suddenly, as I say that, we move to 8. 4Gang, I think, have gone now. Maybe Azita as well. Actually, Phoenix is still up for 4Gang, so it's hard to track all this carnage, but Scars have still got 3 men on deck. The Mastiff coming through. There are boxes everywhere. People getting boxed up like chicken wings. We've gone down to 6 now.
This is such a small circle. Scars is absolutely decimating everyone left in the lobby without ever becoming a kill leader here, I believe. And there's 5 squads left. The ring is closing in further and further. So many Wraith portals coming in. The Gibraltar bubbles and the aerial bombardment. I cannot believe my eyes at the chaos that is going on right now. And RPR is somehow escaping with his life with the Wraith portal. But it is not looking good for Taishin or Mandy right now. They are extremely low on health, but Future Perfect coming in, downing RPR and Mandy. Oh my goodness, James.
3 squads remain now, yeah, and it might be about the shield slots. I don't know how you have the space to pop a bat, but maybe with only 3 squads remaining, there's more time. And now 4Gang are putting in more work. Phoenix is alone. He's got 13 bullets in the R301. It might have to be about a Peacekeeper, unless he can find something. But he's got players to his left and his right now as he tries to stay alive, but he can't pop that bat.
God, here I am hoping for 4Gang to come back with that Peacekeeper especially, because that PK, you can never go wrong with it. But 13 shots up in the R301, no way he was getting out of that one alive, and unfortunately did not last long. Reply Totem, only J Savage W, the last one alive, getting off a med kit. I have no clue how he's going to be able to play this one, but it is going to be a very tricky final circle, and it's going to be exceptionally hard to navigate this with so little time and so little places to navigate, and Future Perfect at full health right now, and is the champion for this match, for this lobby. Wow.
Stuck behind the box and tethered 1 versus 3 with a minefield of caustic barrels. That one certainly was not happening, but it will be Future Perfect to take that game. Absolute carnage. We were running with Scars for a lot of that. They had 3 players up for quite a long time. And you did wonder, but they weren't the only team who were in that with 3 players remaining, and Future Perfect will take our 4th game. That last ring was absolute chaos. You love to see it. That is one of the most difficult areas I've seen to try and survive within 2 minutes, but Future Perfect were able to do it with their entire team standing at the end.
Honestly, I was surprised by that as well. Here I am thinking that Scars is going to take the final circle, but no, Future Perfect out of left field with that surprise win. 4Gang with 1 person standing, unfortunately did not last long. Again, 13 shots up in that R301. That was disastrous, but hey, at least they got a top spot, right? But that final circle though, so many EMPs, right? So many aerial bombardments, so many bubbles going out. It was just a mess, and so many teams trying to survive, but in the end, it was Future Perfect.
Gambit had a horrible game. Same could be said for 69IQ and GMT. All names that you would expect at this point to be on the other side of the leaderboard. So they'll be looking for something in the final 2 games of the day. But looking back to the top, Future Perfect just sneaking in there with the 1st place. I don't know how they kept 3 players alive. There were so many different scenarios at the same time. The bombardment for teams to drop off the platforms, trying to fight for any kind of rock that any teams could find, but Future Perfect able to best everybody else. How they survived with 3 players, they must have been ratting somewhere, surely. Only their Ash with some notable even damage here and 6 kills as well, so they must have been chilling there. They must have found a really nice spot while everybody else was just trying to put in work, surviving or not, but it's all about that W, man.
Honestly, especially when it came to the Ash, that tactical came in clutch so many times. That Nox Grenade and Caustic's gas tanks, especially helping when escaping, deterring enemy teams from even pushing in, and especially that Crypto EMP damaging, allowing Future Perfect to push in on so many teams, including Scars. Again, that was an insane play in the last round, which I was pretty impressed to watch.
They've made it to 1st place in the overall leaderboard. They've moved up 3 places, 49 points. They're a solid 10 plus above the next people close to them in Reply Totem. Gambit still somehow in 3rd place, despite 2 horrible games, so can't complain too much. There's still quite clearly potential for them in the remaining 2 games, but the likes of GMT, they're heading down to the bottom half now as they've gone down 3 places to 10 points. So looking to see more from them in the games to come. Let's see the France, one behind them in 11th place. They're not going to be happy with that. And Guild Esports have not had the best day so far. 12th, even further down the board. They're going to be looking to shoot up in one of these next games.
Honestly, I was expecting Gambit to like do a little bit more damage, be a little bit more significant in this game, and especially when it came to Na'Vi, they should have personally, I felt they should have rotated out a little better. Gone between so many teams, sandwiched so many times, and in the end, that was the one thing that got them killed. And it was not fun to watch at all.
Indeed. Well, that's the conclusion of game number 4. Game number 5 just around the corner. First, we head to a break. Don't go too far away. We'll see you back here soon.
Well, what a start to the day. It has been in an action-packed opportunity to watch your favorite esport. That's right, I said it. Apex Legends on what I think many consider to be their favorite day of the week, Sunday, where you get to relax and you get to do what you want to do. And for me, it was great seeing somebody step into the way of what many of the teams who have been leading wanted to do, which was keep that up. Future Perfect, Vicky, said, absolutely no way. Now they're on top of the leaderboard by, what, 14, 15 points? I mean, what a turnaround.
Yeah, this is a squad that has not won a game today, but this is still a squad that has been fragging out with their kills. You saw their performance where they got 3rd place, I believe, in game number 2, and now they finally take a game here, being game number 4. And you can see as they've skyrocketed off the leaderboards, 49 points. That is the first bridge that I feel like we've been able to see from our top squads make between themselves and 2nd place, because overall, I feel like, Brain, we've been seeing a lot of these teams shoulder to shoulder with one another.
We definitely have, and you can see the big jumps. Fort Gang talked about Phoenix's history as a national, as a world champion in competitive hero shooters, translating that into some successful in-game circles that we've seen recently. But Reply Totem as well. Sharp, Amaz, Jay Savage up 6. Future Perfect up 3, leading Gambit by 14 points, leading the 2nd place team, Reply Totem, by 11 points, and making distance between Zeta Division, 69 IQ, and FigFam, teams we had been talking about relentlessly. So here's where, really the rubber meets the road, Vicky. It's game 5. You got to make your move now. And if you don't make your move now, game 6, it may just be too late.
Yeah, right. Game 6, you're quite literally showing up in the last hour of the party here, expecting to have a good time. And you know what? A lot of these squads have been, from the very get-go, Rain, popping off. You got consistent squads like Gambit. You got squads like FP who've been able to pop off, take that last game, but still remain consistent with their KP. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Although game number 1, they didn't have the strongest showing. They finished in 13th. Game number 3, very similar case, 15th. But each of those games, despite those placements, they still have been able to rack up a lot of kills. Game 1, they had 4. Game 2, they had 10. Game 3, they had 5. And they're looking to continue that coming out of that victory in game number 4 as we move on to game number 5, the second to last game for our EMEA region today.
Big shout outs to Mark Snyder and the rest of the crew doing stats behind the scene, hooking us up with all the information on the teams that we like to look at. And one of the interesting things, noting actually some of these stats around Future Perfect, is that they don't have a ton of kills. In fact, when you look at the total kills for all of the teams here, Future Perfect isn't even within the top 20, and yet they find themselves in a position where they have so many kills today. But one thing they do have is assists. They actually are 8th in total assists, and that would be Disbelief, who's holding that spot down. 29 assists over the course of these tournament weeks. And I think what that means is when you have maybe not as many kills, but you have a ton of assists, what you're doing is you're playing well as a team. You're working on everything that's happening is coming out of the unit. It's not one player carrying you, creating all these accolades. And in fact, when you get to it, that may be the most impactful way to secure points when it comes down to RP, placement points, excuse me, and also KP. So a different strategy, a little bit less flashy, but it seems to be working out really well for Future Perfect, who find themselves 11 points atop the leaderboard.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you highlighted that, because it also showcases how a lot of these members for Future Perfect have been really able to follow up from one another. So that synergy is really there for that squad. So hopefully they could keep that up, as we can see where the circle is going to be pulling this time around. Ray, we're seeing another one of these circles pulling towards Lava Fisher. I mean, after the action we saw yesterday, do they learn their lesson? Some of these spots have to mix up where they want to rotate, because I feel like a lot of this action that we've been seeing from this circle happens to happen on those train tracks leaving stage, and you have landslide action going down too. A lot of these spots moving away from Skyhook, so it's going to be interesting as we get into another circle like this.
Interesting indeed, and this is a circle that is going to determine a lot around the way this game starts to progress. We had a moment last match to follow a couple of listen-ins with Scars, which is a team I kind of want to keep an eye on today, because when you talk about in-game leaders, especially amongst North America and EMEA, you talk about just premier Apex Legends IGLs. So RPR has to be in that conversation, and he's found himself in a situation where they are in striking distance. 28 points, a big game from Scars, could do wonders for them here, but it's tricky because now, Vicky, you start to see an upped pace and more stakes. So does this mean that teams are going to be where we normally see 18 squads remaining in round 4? Is this going to be maybe 14 now, with a couple of teams taking risks, knowing, hey, unless we do it now, we're not going to have a chance to do it in game 6?
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you say that too, because then you have teams like Gambit who were playing extremely safe going on to game number 3. You see a lot of shift from the way that these teams actually play to their advantage. And 4Gang wasting no time, utilizing the replicator, being able to have these purple Evo shields right out of the start is going to help elevate them in making sure whether they can actually go in for a third party, whether they can overextend. You got that scope that you can work off of too that's in the replicator at the moment. So a lot of decisions coming in from some of these teams. And as we tune into 69 IQ, as they're making their way away from Thermal Station. This is the squad that actually won the Thermal Station Circle in game number 1. And you can see that as they are quick to make their rotation. You wonder, 69 IQ recognizing, all right, this is a very similar situation that we've been in the last 2 games. Let's not dwell any longer. Let's not get Circle kept. We're actually just going to make this move right now so that way we can have the advantage when it comes to Circle keeping these other squads moving away from the southern part of the map.
And as you mentioned it, the Valkyrie ult, skyward dive, up and down. They want to find their best spot to land. I love the back buildings on that side, but it looks like they may take a farther approach here. Maybe trying to play for the buildings on height, which is not a bad idea, or hold this choke, which gives you access to a couple of things. High ground also gives you access to some decent KP, and if you can make it past here without getting shot, you'll be in a decent position. It seems like one of the carts on the railroads will be where they decide to land and hold this location, and I think they're lucky that maybe an engagement was going on beforehand, because you could see one shot, Sharp's almost out of this fight here. If that had happened while they were flying, you would have assuredly seen them take some damage, potentially take a knock on that rotation.
And some tiers being built up too, especially when you have the other squad noting that you have a white Evo shield that you're working from. That's just looking at gold here. So Reply Totem playing this safely, Sharp noting that. I mean, he's Gibby, he's got the dome to try to rotate safely, but we have to note that we had seen 69 IQ make this rotation away from Thermal, so that could be the squad that's actually right off to their left. If they're not careful, they could essentially get sandwiched here.
Well, this height is great, especially with Thermal. You can rotate through the choke, you can rotate late, you can hold off anybody who's basically not ready in the zone, already content with the spot that they're holding. So you have a lot of access to KP, to resources, to loot, and then you have a late rotation that gives you high ground heading into that final potential fight. But again, we know it's going Lava Fisher, so the route that they're going to have to take a bit different, but still very similar as far as, it's just a little bit more northwest up on the map. So these teams know how to navigate it. And it's really going to be up to the fact that do you decide to skyward dive at the right time, especially these Valkyrie teams where it can be a death sentence, Vicky. And that's the one thing you hope that it's not, especially in a Game 5 decision, that you just don't land, don't realize a team is right underneath you, and you kind of seal your own fate.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since you don't want to be risky, especially early game, noting that there's still a full squad, or rather full lobby here, of course, with UO Catboys dropping down. They've been disbanded, so we start off right off the bat with 19 squads. And you can see the way that Gambit has been playing Edge a lot more often after that game number 2, where they were the first squad to go down in the lobby. So Zeta actually in some trouble here, as you can see, rocking full blues, but they're on the low ground, and they are sandwiched by Gambit, who are on the other side, that also have vision over where they're at. But they're not going to be denied loot, because this is still the same squad that has been rocking the Loba, as you can see right here. Impulse having the G7 in his hand.
Important setup here. Context, 69 IQ Esports, who found themselves dropping 3 points last round, have now an opportunity to move into the top 20 if they can continue this up. They are sitting at the 21st place. And underrated, and sitting right behind them. So 2 teams, especially 4 and 28. If these 3 teams can continue to have the type of day we're seeing, there's high stakes, Vicky, because that pushes them into that top 20 and potentially, again, closer into that top 10 where they're going to be able to represent in playoffs. It's a huge opportunity for them. But it's got to happen in this round. And we're seeing these teams now, when we're in week 4, start to push it to the max, because they know it is a do-or-die kind of moment here for them.
Yeah, exactly. They want to get as many points as possible, especially, like you mentioned, it's week number 4 here. A lot of these teams want to start rounding off some of these points, and you could see that with the way that they've been playing throughout the course of the day. Scars landing some shots with the wingman. No scope here, but that's okay. The wingy dingy sometimes doesn't need that here, especially with this position that Taishin is holding onto this high ground. They also have the redeploy too, so they're going to be holding against that squad who wants to make their rotation over to Landslide. And look who's on the bottom here. It's actually all planned. Who is noting Taishin, who's been taking those shots with the wingman onto them.
19 squads still remaining. Round 1 just about finished closing as we start round 2 here in game number 5 of our EMEA part of the day. NA coming up later in the afternoon. I know many in the chat have been waiting patiently, but we got the hype action happening now. And 4Gang, a team on everybody's tongues, a fantastic final 3 finish. Couldn't quite get it done. Phoenix last alive, but sitting pretty, having moved up 5 places in that last round, find themselves in 4th as they try to escape this zone, working on the outside, rotating a little bit late, which with the Valkyrie, you give the option to do that. Makes that skyward dive a little riskier, but still a decent spot here for 4Gang to continue not taking too many risks heading into the final circle.
Yeah, this is the squad that had to play with a rat and get 3rd place nonetheless in game number 4. So it's interesting to see this rotation that they're going to be taking. Why don't we actually do a listen into 4Gang to see where they're going to be rotating here, noting that they were playing out of the circle a little bit.
If it's taken, I guess if the spot is taken, I really think we try to like go back if it's safe to go back. And we just walk, or like we fight our way in. I really don't like landing, like last minute blind landing somewhere, because everything else is like pretty bad.
I'm gonna charge right
From where?
From East.
They're taking the zip.
Are they in construction?
No, they're not.
Yeah,
they might
were.
go
They zip
construction.
They zip down. They zip down to like this.
Okay, we can Valkyrie here if you want.
If we back up, we're not going to be able to go back.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go for it.
Potentially.
The other way, what we can do is we can land count our skyhook side, but I don't want to do it.
I don't see anyone.
There's no one there. There's no one there.
Okay.
The teams are landing a bit.
Yep, I'm hovering. I mean, I'm landing on my spot. That pillar is pretty safe to land in. I'm flying past just to scan for you on the blue crates. There's no one.
I'm safe.
I scan people like further up. Pop me 2 cells.
There's a guy on top here.
Can you be ready to bubble me? I'm gonna fly up and see if the bubble is taken. Oh, there's a white peak in blue crates.
Oh, fuck, my bubble is broken.
I need bubble back.
Ultimate hit in front of us.
There's a drone somewhere, guys. The drone is right here. Shoot it. If you're not healing.
Off on me.
Hit on me.
If we stabilize, we're fine.
Yeah, we'll stabilize. They're
I
getting
wish
shot
my
at.
ultimate, guys, remember.
It's fine.
That's fine. There's no way. That was good.
Behind you coming.
Crypto crack above. Yeah, fuck off. Cunt. Peek me again. Give me in the crate. In this crate.
In the crate at the
Can
back.
one of us watch
Yes,
please?
he was in there.
Can one of us watch please, guys?
Okay, I'm gonna pop cells here.
Rush behind. Where?
I'll watch behind and popping cells.
That picking, that white picking again.
They're being shot at now by the other team.
Okay, so it's a different team on low ground, right? And a different team on high ground?
I know, I think it's the same team. Yeah, they're peeking. The Rave is peeking here now.
No, the device is picking here.
Okay, that's peeking. That's the
They're
team.
going white. Blue on race.
Are they inside the crate?
Yes, they are.
I'm really down to nade it right now.
Yeah, one left,
Inside
one
the back
left.
crate. Okay.
They left.
Naded it.
No, there's still a Gibby in there.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
nade's
see me
that though.
in the back crate, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I
the
naded.
yeah, but no, you nade it up behind. So you have to nade in the opening itself.
Plane? No?
Yeah, they is from over landslide. They're past.
It's just surreal hearing Phoenix's voice after casting him for so many years. Seeing him do things like wear a penguin onesie in a semifinals. We're not going to get into that, Phoenix. I'm not going to expose you too much, but hey, at LAN, we might have a chance to bring that up in an interview. A great team, a lot of conscience, and also a lot of great adaptability. You saw the bubble get broken, dealt with the drone really easily, Vicky, and was able to hold off that team.
You can hear the IGL coming in too from that squad, just being able to hear how they were making some of those calls, noting that they don't really feel comfortable in that situation, seeing that they were getting double scanned. We were talking about a little bit the crypto drone and the bloodhound scan. So now as we get to tune into Navi as they're holding on to this building, you see Max actually just watching their cryptos back, and they also have that gold Evo shield to work off of too. So great Evo shields in general, and even some KP tacked on too. Looking at this triple take and some of the damage that they've been able to build up, but no squads have dropped just yet in this lobby.
Incredible story. Oh, and an incredible shot, 99. That'll hurt. He's going to take a break from that one. Say, wow, you should have told me about that window. Don't go over there. It's dead inside. Find themselves falling again. That was thanks to what looks like Clean coming in, and 4Gang now having to battle against Clean. Phoenix gets picked up real quick within the Gibraltar Dome. He's going to bounce himself back out. Shield battery to buy the time, and yep, holding on to the left-hand side with the caustic gas. That's an ultimate, and he's running out of options here. He's got the shield battery, but he can no longer hold, so it's time for legit Lolly to go over, and you'll see him make the rotation on the left. Again, great tag teaming and support. This is good IGLing, and a good position to be held as well, because they don't have anybody facing on that left side. If they had someone approaching maybe from the southwest, it would be difficult because they'd have an angle, but right now they get to fight directly through a choke, which allows them, as long as one of the Caustic or the Gibraltar is up, to have enough defensive presence and tactical presence to buy time even if there's a down. And you can tell it's frustrating for Clean and anyone else who's been pushing. But look at this. It seems like maybe an engagement on the other side from Phoenix Legacy. They may have to start paying attention to their backside as well.
Yeah, they stole that loot too. They were able to put in the dome, steal that loot. They were being watched, but nothing could be taken as a shot there, as of course they were in the safety of that dome, and Zeta Division can't be saying the same because they've lost Impulse. They've lost their Gibby. They don't have the dome here. You see Taskmaster getting that res. Sunset just trying to watch their backs, but they're stuck in between two squads here, so they have to start rotating soon.
Round 3 closing out, 20 seconds before the zone is finally in, and we begin round 4. 18 squads remaining, and we thought there might be an opportunity for these squads to be a little lower heading into round 4 with the pace getting picked up, and it's 17 squads left. Beautiful cleanup by Xander, and that's Big Vam coming in. This team is in 7th place, but they keep surprising us. Match in, match out, Vicky, and putting in the work.
Love the timing on that too. Taking out the squad that won game number 2. Zeta Division won't be in this lobby. Neither will that Black Market. No loot being stolen. And look at where the circle is going to be pulling. A little bit of a change up here. Now that we can note that it's going to be able to encapsulate that southern building of Countdown. So a lot of these squads that thought otherwise here in Lava Fisher are going to have to be rotating soon now, noting a lot of the action is going to be happening in this choke point.
Oh, the Rampage. We haven't had a chance to talk about this. The secret weapon. Albreleli has been on top of it since the start of the season that it came out in Season 10, but people have been doubting the presence, the thermite potential to ramp up the Rampage, but yet it is in the hands of one of our teams here in Thermal, and it can be deadly and is starting to catch fire faster than you can imagine within the meta. I believe people are going to be playing this more and more often as we head into January and throughout the year, and as long as this gun stays able to do what it's done. Joke here on the Peacekeeper R301. He has to go into the Void. He almost takes the damage, but this should buy him just a little bit of time to get back to his teammates. Well, he scouted, but yeah, no good news on that side.
Yeah, he came back. He was like, sorry, guys. Unfortunately, did not find that rotation. Yeah, do not go. He could just queue out, get back to the safety of his team who were waiting for him. Even got some hellos going down from the Seat Fons. I love this, looking at the way that the squad is just trying to plan their next move here. A little tricky. They're outside the circle, but no matter what they do here, Rain, they're going to be in the line of sight of this squad who clearly knows that, who took some shots at Joke.
And it's tough. I mean, you have to play underground, but they realized that was a difficult spot. So he's basically going to set up the portal. This is 50 seconds to make your move, or a little bit under. The center is going to be contested and isn't a great place to hold, so they're going to go directly underneath, and this is one place to do it. You have opportunities to climb up these rocks. They are not unclimbable. The issue is, if you want to climb, you cannot have contest because the climb is so difficult. You're going to basically get shot before you can get up there. The only hope maybe Larabanu with the Valkyrie could buy some time for the rest of Lagger and Joke to climb, but this is a great place for a defensive bombardment. You're not going to get hit. You're not going to have to waste your Gibby bubble. I like the decision-making from Lassique de France, setting themselves up for a pretty nice endgame.
And I like this decision, too, from Joke. Lassique de France just trying to scout out to see if there was maybe a chance to rotate differently because they heard that the squad above them was fighting. As you can see scars here, they even pinged down the Kraber that's right behind them, wondering if they're going to be able to pick that up in time as they find themselves forced to utilize the dome and a bombardment coming down at that. So they're going to have to give some space over to that squad that's taking some shots. And you got the Kraber in the hands of RPR. We saw Scars really pop off last game, and they're looking to carry that momentum over to game number 5.
A one-shot headshot. What can RPR do? Defensive bombardment from Mandy to slow him down. Can he slow him down once more? RPR with the whiff. That's all right. He's still got potential in his hands, and that's sometimes all you need from a player. Potential, opportunities, and not letting it slip. RPR can hit a shield battery here. He might have to before he gets into this engagement, but they're going to set up movement. He needs to get to another spot. And what better than an interdimensional tunnel with complete invulnerability and fast travel to do it? That's what Clean Inside are expecting, though, and that ends up being dangerous. Mandy goes down to the ring. Horizon falls as well. Arthur, we saw him battling across with Phoenix Legacy. He falls, and so does RPR. 13 squads remaining, but it looks like it's going to be 12 soon, and Clean Inside, what a perfect position to make sure that they solidify anyone trying to approach late in that circle.
Oh, and Gambit and Guild are going absolutely crazy in the feed right now. You see them get it down with that frag. Gambit, of course, now being able to get some of this loot around the corner before they're the ones that have to start planning their next moves. But it looked like they were a little hungry here in terms of loot, so they were just desperate to try to get to these death boxes, even though there's a squad right around the corner.
Vicky, they're not just hungry. It's lunchtime, and they've been intermittent fasting with juices only for the last couple of days. They are ravenous. And Ardeki and the rest of Artico and Leogri, I'm sure they don't take too kindly to what they saw Future Perfect and Totem Esports do in the last couple of games. But they still have a little bit of time to try to change things up as well. A couple of beautiful shots from Unlucky. Clean inside to play clean. But Nags finds himself in a very difficult spot, having one of his members go down after already one needing to be recovered. Just him. And it'll be not him anymore as that finishes off. But Gambit's still on that backside. We have to pay attention. They are coming in with a fire. But look at this. They're fighting against Fort Gang and Gambit. Are they going to go down? Leogri trying to hold it off with a massive. He clutches up and saves Gambit. Fort Gang gets sent back to the lobby. And Gambit still alive.
Oh, you love to see it. They got less than 3 seconds, though, to help get Hardeki back in this. The circle's closing in fast, and I'm not too sure if they could be able to do this unless this is just the HUD glitch that we were saying. Okay, it is. We were holding our breath. I heard you, Rain. Same here, but they're going to get Hardeki back. They're going to be able to have the time to pop this med kit and get to that circle, but Leciter Fonts now pulling the moves, utilizing that redeploy, but is it going to be too risky now at this point in the game?
Joke goes down. He goes down because it was in the zone. They were just a day late and $1 short on choosing to use that, and they land exactly right back where they were on the high ground. This is going to be very dangerous, but they realize that they've got it all in. The inting is the only way possible, and is this Gambit that they're looking to push onto? There's a Kraber in the hands of somebody doing a ton of damage, and the Rabanu trying to hold it off. Him and Lagger both have to hit med kits, Vicky, and they will have this choke and this opportunity to at least fight around the corner. But it's going to be Lecita France who have to make things happen. Oh my God, a defensive bombardment? Is this just free kills? He's got his dome in a half a second, but this could be disastrous for the team they're fighting. It's just not hitting.
But the fact that they're still here to try to contest, leave no man behind despite Joke going down here. You saw Lecita France bypass and turn around in the redeploy. They're trying to get this. They managed to get that knock. They're playing around the knockdown shield, but they are going to get that revenge over for Joke. And as long as they get that KP, you got 2 other spots for Lecita France to worry about.
This has to be Gambit pushing in on the backside as well. That was GMT who went down. Lecita France doing everything they can to get the shield swaps. The Peacekeepers. Are they going to keep the peace here? It seems like they just might be able to do it. Maliwan's going to take down Amaz. Jay Savage as well will go down thanks to Larabanu. It was not Gambit who ended up pushing, but we have Lecita France and one other team here fighting for supremacy. It's the crypto drone. Are they running away?
No.
That's going to be it. Future Perfect. Are you kidding me?
Future Perfect. They've done it again. Back to back. You know what? Look at this position too. They heard all the hack action happening on the other side of this rock, and we're like, that's crazy. That's none of our business, though. We are going to take that dub. Positioning is key, but you know what? They were denied that KP that Lecita France were able to clutch out at the very end, even diverting that redeploy. So that way they can make sure that they can clean up any of those squads that were actually around Joke, maybe trying to loot him at the very end before they made the rotation.
What I loved about that, Vicky, is they realized they made a mistake going a little late. Joke wasn't able to get down, and they say instead of trying to rotate to play in-game with a man down, we are going to land and we are going to cause havoc. We will get our KP here. We have a decent placement, and as long as we keep getting kills, our placement will keep getting better. But wow. Talk about just saying, I'm out, I'm going to go my own way. I'll choose my own timing. I'm not going to walk around this circle and let Future Perfect, you know, shoot a little wingman shot or some R301 bullets to finish me off. No, I'm not going to go out like that. I'm going to go out like how I want. And Future Perfect just sit there in disbelief that they won yet again. 19 points, but Lecita France right behind them with 14.
Future Perfect back-to-back wins. We were talking about how they were leading the leaderboards overall before this game, now securing another win on top of this. This is the first squad that we see today that has managed to win 2 games in 1 day right now. So add Future Perfect to the list when you take a look at squads like Maestro and Gambit Esports.
Well, when you look at what Gambit have been able to do, they've actually taken over where we saw their next competitor here, Reply Totem Esports. They were down by 3. They've got 12 points now, and Totem only had 8. But talk about the team that has been in the lead and is going to stay in the lead and increase their lead with 19 points. Alexi, Vladimir, David, what an incredible job by Future Perfect. These guys are playing out of their mind. And we mentioned, Vicky, you know, in terms of standings, they're 31st. They came into this week with 4 points. And now they're sitting here potentially having 16 points at the end of this, which might put them in the top 10.
Let me just say, this break did Future Perfect justice. They're coming in, and look at the composition that they're running to. A little unorthodox in comparison to what we've been seeing from both EMEA and NA. Running Caustic, they're running the Crypto, and they're running the Ash. And you know what? Just like our friends James and Ash touched up on the last game, that Ash really coming in clutch for the squad, Future Perfect, to really help reposition themselves without having to overextend at the same time. So I really like this look from Future Perfect.
Well, I'm a fan of that Ash, and I think you could see that there's somebody else who might be a fan of it as well. John, come on in here. Let us know what you think. We've been watching. We've been talking. We haven't heard from you. It's Game 5. Future Perfect with a back-to-back win.
Insane. My man Rain Day likes that Ash. You and I both, brother. Looking great right now on Future Perfect. I've been enjoying Ash the last couple of weeks myself, but Future Perfect back-to-back dubs. And the first one in Game 4 was a 9-kill dub. High kills in Game number 5. Again, CIS on top. They're looking so strong. Let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights so we can see how they did it in Game 4. And then it's going to be like deja vu because we're going to see the same thing in Game 5. Vicky, walk me through it.
Yeah, you saw Gambit honestly having to play from this low ground. We were talking about it before on how difficult it is to try to rotate from that underneath part, that low end part where you have to rotate in front of a lot of people's line of sight, whether it be from landslide, whether it be from squads moving away from Skyhook. And Scars really popped off this game, and I think after their performance in the last game, this is definitely one of those squads that have been able to build up that momentum, and they're running through it. They're able to gain that confidence, and you can see that in the way that they've been honestly fragging out with these kills.
Yeah, they needed that performance. 4th place, 8 kills, got them up the leaderboards over on 8th place going into Game 5, but unfortunately not able to repeat that same exact success in Game 5. Nonetheless, RPR playing out of his mind on Wraith, Rinde.
Yeah, and you got to say, you mentioned him in the top conversation of IGLs in the world. I remember having a great stream towards the championships for him, NRG Sweet, Imperial Hal. We're all discussing what it means to be an IGL, how difficult it is, the tendencies that people don't see on camera of the actions they have to take that are just often misunderstood from a normal viewer's perspective. It really gave me a lot of respect for that role, and especially RPR as well, one of the most vocal in that conversation. It's great. I don't know if you can find it on a stream VOD somewhere, but they definitely are showing up today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's no coincidence that almost all the top IGLs that we consider to be in top of that list all play Wraith as well. So to do that while playing Wraith, being the lead fragger for your team, the initiate, having to also make plays, make moves is just insane. As we see, speaking of great Wraiths and great IGLs, Hardeki on Gambit. Vicky, walk me through game number 5 and what we saw.
Yeah, what we saw from Gambit is that they were stuck between this rock, and we still saw Leokri actually pop off at the very end there, winning that trade and being able to get the res in time. But it was just a matter of timing that was really kind of trickling down for those squads that had to rotate away from Lava Fisher into Countdown. Those 2 choke points are so tricky when you already have squads stationed there from early game. Even seeing the Craver coming out from Claudion Fanboys.
Yeah, Claudion Fan was the Craver, but in the end, it was Future Perfect. Clean up, and actually not even getting a chance to clean up because they were actually denied the kill points at the end there. Smart decision from LCDF to completely just run into zone, take the zone damage, and deny 2 kill points here, Rinde.
Yeah, I mean, it was a simultaneously kind of funny thing to watch because at the end of the day, you are upset in that moment that you don't have a chance to really fight that. The ring would take you out before you do it. But it was also, hey, what's the best version of a bad situation we can make this? And so let's deny them some KP. It definitely helped. That would have been another 3 points to their name, so they would have had 22 instead of the 19 they have after that win.
Yep. That's what you saw in game number 5. And as a result, going into game number 6, let's take a look at the standings to see what the storylines are going to be going into game 6. I mean, keep in mind, everyone watching right now, this is EMEA day number 8 of our 12-day Pro League, which means that you will have some teams, the bottom 8 teams will get relegated. The top 10 teams will qualify for the playoffs automatically. Future Perfect, as Rain Day said, was in 31st or 32nd place. They were close to that bottom 8, and they are popping off here, Rain Day.
I mean, this is the best thing that could have happened to them. They're almost guaranteed 12 points unless Gambit has the most unbelievable game and they have the worst heading into this last round, which means that they're in contest for top 10. I mean, this changes their entire playoff picture. This has got to give Disbelief, Ozis, Maliwan so much hope heading into the future, and especially, guys, incorporating the Ash, one of the only teams to do it. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I really like the way that Future Perfect has been able to play today. Again, I need to highlight that this composition that they're running is something that you don't see usually, and the fact that they're finding so much success with it, it's interesting because, again, like you guys have been highlighting, this is a squad that was on that border of being part of those teams that may not even have a chance to still be here in the ALGS. Meanwhile, though, they're popping off today. They're skyrocketing off the overall leaderboards after their performance today, and it's really interesting to see how that's going to allow them to catch their breath, realize, all right, guys, we are not at threat of elimination right now. We are popping off, and even being able to see ourselves in the top 10 to secure that playoff spot is going to be fantastic comeback for this team.
Yeah, that's why you love this format, right? On Friday for EMEA, it was Rebel, who was in the bottom of the standings and popped off, got top 3. Now, Future Perfect doing the same thing every single week. You got to perform week in and week out, and you never know who's going to pop off and secure themselves a spot in the top 10 or avoid that bottom 8 regulation. It's been fun to watch. We still have a few weeks left, obviously, but we still got one game left of this one before we jump to that. Guess what? Every single one of y'all watching right now, you have a chance to win a Lenovo Legion gaming PC. Make sure to enter at Lenovo Legion's ALGS Pro League giveaway. Go to twitter.com/Lenovo Legion for your chance to enter. Make sure to visit Lenovo Legion's Twitter, and a thank you, as always, to our partners in Lenovo Legion. Get yourself a Lenovo Legion PC, my friends. Obviously, I would love to get one myself. I'm not going to let my PCs get a little old here.
We still have Lenovo PCs. I mean, we've had so many Lenovo PCs throughout the ALGS run. They've been so reliable. It's always fun to get a part of it.
That's right. And of course, we also have the Challenger Circuit. We talked about this great format for Pro League, but we also have the Challenger Circuit. For those that are not aware, you can compete as an amateur player. It's open to sign up for anyone in the Challenger Circuit. Make sure to register. Registration is now open for our Challenger Circuit number 4 and closes December 1st at 12 p.m. Pacific time. Challenger Circuit number 4 will take place December 4th to 6th. See if you have what it takes to compete amongst the best Apex teams in the world. To register, make sure to visit battlefy.com/ALGS. You and your 2 teammates can try and compete and see if you have what it takes to make it into the Pro League next split next season and compete for this lion's share of millions of dollars worth of prize pool, which is ridiculous. And of course, if you have not already, make sure to follow us on all things socials, twitter.com/playapex, youtube.com/playapex esports, twitter.com/playapex esports, and of course, Twitch TV @playapex. I mentioned it earlier, but the YouTube content has been amazing as of late, so check out some of that YouTube content as well. Whew, a lot going on, a lot of action as we are getting ready for game number 6. It is going to be insane. Can Gambit, our predictions to win it all today, can they pop off with a huge 25-26 kill game, or will Future Perfect continue to roll? Will we see the likes of Scars or other teams secure their spot in the top 3, top 4 today? We'll find out as we get ready for game number 6 with Ash and James after this.
I have a subject in view.
A massive Bolshaya Pabieda to Future Perfect for 2 games in a row. That is Russian for big victory. My pronunciation may be somewhat off. That's massive from them. 2 Ws in a row and 1 more game to go. The question before the break was, can Gambit get a 26 kill game and find the way to first place? I think they've done well to even keep up with the kills they've been able to, I want to say consistently get, but they've had 119th place and 117th place. So it's like every other game, they went 6 kills, 0 kills, 10 kills, 0 kills, 8 kills, and obviously a win in there as well in that 3rd game, which allows them to have 2nd place in the overall leaderboard.
Honestly, that is true, and Gambit not exactly in the position they want to be. They wanted that top spot, but Future Perfect, again, no one really saw this coming, taking the top spot pretty much away from everyone. And Scars Europe and Navi right now not exactly in the best spot on placement. So it is going to be very tricky for them to climb. They're going to have to get a lot of kills in this next match. We're going to have to see where that final circle ends for them to be able to achieve that.
Speaking of final circles, that last situation was absolutely insane. It's like they're trying to free solo up the wall, just clinging onto the slightest piece of ring and then just running to their literal demise to avoid giving more advantage to the opponent. That is really admirable split decision making, but I just loved everything about that ring, just the tight channels that people were trying to wiggle with a Peacekeeper, try and get a quick reload in. And who knows what the ring will look like for this final game of EMEA today. We're about to get into it, match number 6.
Honestly, this final game, match 6, about to be really spicy. Now it is do or die for a lot of teams in the rankings right now. We're going to have to see where Gambit ends up in this final circle, if they're going to take 1st or if they're going to take 3rd going home, which is not where they want to be. So it's going to be the whole lobby right now versus Future Perfect, trying to get them before anything else can happen.
I do believe that's your favorite character making their way into the arena.
Oh, no.
Caustic in the hands of Mali1 going straight
James,
into a
don't you
try.
dare. God, Caustic.
Look, there we go. There's a barrel. That barrel was for you, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, Caustic, not exactly my favorite, but then again, a lot of damage you can stack on with Caustic, especially from that Nox grenade and the gas tanks, deter a lot of enemies from even trying to get in onto your position. And it looks like Future Perfect gonna land in Landslide right now, looting and doing the best they can to stock up on ammo and shield cells before heading in to see if they can knock off anyone else right now.
Oh, well, That is quite the southern zone to finish off the day. So 4 gang going to have to bounce their way all the way down the map. And same is true for teams like Le Site de France up there on the top left. That is a long way down and a lot of teams between them and those southern positions. And again, what is going to be hard about that ring is, where are you going to, even if you do make it there from the other end of the map, like, where are you going to go? There is not going to be that many places available.
Honestly, that is a very long trek to the ring. You have a lot of teams that landed over in Climatizer, especially Skyhook, having to go through a whole swarm of other teams and third parties trying to get over to Lava Siphon and Launch Site. And that is not going to be a fun road trip, especially for other teams like Navi over in the corner right there.
Yeah, honestly, if I was 4 gang on Le Site de France, I'd go to the kitchen and just grab some water for the journey, because that is going to be a very long trip indeed. And Hardeki, as we can see, has got a wingman. And I feel like in the interest in fairness, there should be some kind of announcement on the server when Hardeki has a wingman with a 1x or a 2x on it.
Honestly, you remember that one announcement from Doom? It's like, attention, the Doomslayer unfortunately has a hold of the BFG. We need one word just says, attention everyone. Hardeki has the wingman with the 2 times. Please stay out of the way unless you actually want to get yourself hurt.
Yeah, they're pretty well looted with some gold armor on Artico as well, so they're chilling for now. Switch to the backpack, now they've got some time. I'll just keep an eye on the rotations of these other players here, but this is a good building to hold for the time being. We can see they're in the green zone already, and that's definitely where you want to be, because it's going to be a war zone outside to try and get this limited real estate, but that's to come much later on. For now, they're going to be looting up and people are going to be slowly making their way. And a reminder, if you are joining us late, if you didn't see the earlier games, we're starting with 19 teams as the Uwu Cat Boys are no longer. They've all been put down, they've disbanded. So we have 19 teams remaining.
Yeah, and at the moment, it looks like Scar is Europe doing some more looting over at Geyser. Doesn't look like anyone has come through just yet. However, we don't know if anyone's actually going to go through Geyser, so Scars is going to have to be a little careful here. And watching out for anyone in the distance. Who knows if RPR sees anyone in the distance? I don't think he does. So right now, Scars is safe. However, they're going to have to move in a little later. And here we go with a 4 gang over at the Climatizer, I believe.
You can scan this area.
Yeah, and we've got people crafting their armor. You can see Legit Lolly is... he's in a nude right now. It's a bit cold outside, but he's got his armor there. And we saw the same from the previous team as well. 50 points, you can evo your squishy armor to level 2 at the very least. A very important upgrade. And one to bear in mind at home. Can't find that those better shields, then just evo yourself some blue. And you'll be in a much better situation.
And it looks like Gambit Esports is already in a good spot here. Getting into a team fight, especially with that Gibraltar and the gold shield, definitely going to be helpful in the long run. Oh, is Hardeki going to get a couple shots? He does with the wingman. And on the one-time scope too, I believe. God, I love the wingman. That wing digger definitely coming in clutch, especially in the hands of Hardeki. That's essentially a sniper rifle.
Yeah, we've seen him do so much damage with it already. Big fan of it. He hasn't had a full third shield cell there for a while, but I think he's pretty content with it where it is. Doesn't want to waste a shield cell. Trying to be efficient as possible. Yeah. Some of these rooms have got some rat spots in the high areas. So I'm always on the lookout to see if anyone's going to be trying to get into one of those spots. Haven't seen one just yet, but as we can see, right now the players who are already in this green zone are just chilling. Just you know, they don't really have much rotating to do, and they know that their real estate is going to be very, very prime indeed. But there will be a quick venture into the care package from Reply Totem, so let's see what's inside it.
Oh, an alternator with the disruptor rounds. Amaz managing to get away with that. I don't think the other team has realized that, and if they do, they've definitely missed out on a big weapon, big time. And I think Reply Totem might be able to push here, considering they just saw an enemy team with the Jibby Bubble. However, that's going to be a little tricky. And here we go to Lasidi Franz coming out of the tunnels. And that area looks like already has been looted, or they are in the middle of looting, avoiding a couple shots from a longbow. And this is about to get tricky, considering they're about to get sandwiched in between multiple teams.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see the overall map soon so we can see how these teams are rotating over. If anyone's going for any edge play, which is interesting because, you know, you can see on the when you see a team on the edge, suddenly they could just be flying across the map because, of course, we have the Valks on many teams, and it does prove useful. We haven't seen any catastrophic Valk plays just yet, but so we can see at the top of the map, 4 gang looking to gatekeep already potentially. As we have another team above them by survey camp, but most people have made it pretty deep. I mean, that southern part of the map is very, very busy. That heat map is piping hot already.
Oh, we're probably about to see the kill list light up like a bonfire in a hot second. Lasidi Franz heading more towards ring, but 4 gang looks like they're going to gatekeep on the edge of ring. However, if they're not careful, they're going to take some more and more damage over time if they don't get to the center of that ring immediately. And 4 gang to get the kill off of Sad Bear. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think they're going for all the kills here. They're looking kind of thirsty for these remaining frags. They've got the Valks to get out of there as well, so I think that this team may be in a lot of trouble. We've got the gas coming through as well, and things go from bad to worse, although we've got the Valk on the floor, but here comes the res.
Oh, that's coming in clutch here. The Valkyrie is alive. That Nox grenade doing some damage. Oh boy, 4 gang getting flanked up top. It is not enough. Both of them go down, and that is it for 4 gang. Oh. Wow.
Who you trying to gatekeep, son? Where you going? Where you going? That's what Phoenix Legacy want to know. What were you thinking?
Oh my goodness,
that has gone
so good for them.
Horribly wrong. They had the man advantage.
That is just brutal for 4 gang. It looked so good for them. The odds were in their favor. However, with the flank up top from Phoenix Legacy, that was just sad.
It was sad and embarrassing.
Honestly, like, that's going to be in the replays for a bit.
We have position. We've got Valk. We could just fly in afterwards. Sam's Bear is back.
Ooh, Sam's back. A vengeance. My goodness. It looks like Scar is getting up a couple of kills on Jax and Streamy. Okay, adding the KP, healing up a little bit, see who they're going to run into next, considering that part of the ring is about to get some company in a second. Lots of death boxes littering all over the place, and the unfortunate death boxes, the cold corpses of what is left of 4 gang. That is just sad to watch.
Man, they were having a good day as well, but that's not the way you want to end it. We're going to have a quick listen into Phoenix Legacy as they make their way through this pretty significant ring now.
One back.
1-8 in heals. Flash.
Flash, okay.
I'm coming. Just backing up.
I always feel like...
This one's gonna be a launch.
I'm feeling safer with Caustic.
Yeah, no. Whatever you want to come to on, like, I don't mind playing the Caustic. I actually really like Caustic. Caustic's super good.
Yeah, we can hold everything. We can play for time.
Even when Seps was dead, still helping poke.
Yeah, like literally.
Yeah, actually, after my death, bro. My god.
I'm gonna craft a min kit. We need to go faster.
Yeah, I have 1 medkit, so I need to craft this one.
I can drop you one.
Should I craft then or no?
No. Let's go and hit beacon, Arthur.
One thing that's crucial on those bigger rotations, of course, is crafting medkits where possible, because I don't think they're going to be finding any opponents anytime soon, but finally they'll be making it out of the ring. Now, another problem is that during their rotation, how much loot, if they need more, are they going to find? I mean, maybe it's not a big deal. We can see Lyfen is pretty looted up here. 300 bullets in the R301, not too shabby at all. And again, Gambit in this strong position as they've been for a while. They'll have to take advantage of teams rotating in later on. So for now, it's the waiting game.
Yeah, it looks like Gambit right now coming in with the rat strat, exceptionally quiet on their end. I don't believe anyone's headed towards them at the moment, but Scars Europe holding it down over at the Lava Siphon. And here comes Guild Esports with the Valkyrie. It looks like they may actually drop on top of either Scars or... Oh, James, this might be a fight between Guild and Gambit. Are you ready for this?
They're surely going to have to fight someone. I think Gambit are... I think they're around the corner in a different building, so they're okay from them for the time being, but there's no way that this is not occupied. Now, there are some positions like this that teams will look to play, potentially, but they may be looking for more than that. Perhaps we're going to see some skirmishes at the very least, but they've seen caustic barrels around already. Just having a look through the door to see what's happening. I can see some of Zeta as well, and Dead Inside, who of course have been dropping in the dome, so this was always around the corner for them. That would have been a fast rotation.
Yeah, and Hardaggy trying to get off a couple shots with the wingman, but with that scope, it's going to be a little hard, unfortunately, without that 2 times. Who knows? Guild Esports trying to come in with a couple arc stars here. Who knows if they're going to connect? And that charge rifle, unfortunately, blocked by the door. And that crypto drone coming out to get plenty of info for the enemy team. An EMP might come out at any second. Who knows? But I believe I hear a Volt in the distance. Does a lot of damage. Not as good as Spitfire. Sort of there. But Guild might about to... Oh, they see the crypto. They have 2 opportunities to push here. They could go for the crypto, or they could go for the other team inside those doors. Who knows?
I don't know if... Okay, we're going to see a replay, some action earlier on. Scars, 6. Does he survive this? Oh, the Arc Star to turn him into a box. Smell you later. So this is kind of crazy from Guild Esports that Matafe is just standing at his door with a charge rifle. I don't know if that's confidence or urgency that they need to take a strong position, but it's pretty wild either way. So now they're going to be chilling on the other side of that door. I don't know how long those 2 teams could coexist for, just on either side of a blast door. But maybe there'll be an informal agreement to do so and not cause any variance for themselves. In the meantime,
honestly,
because...
Yeah, looking like a good position right now for Scars. However, they're heading more over towards the Siphon, but they might... Oh, it looks like they're about to get sandwiched between 1, 2, maybe even 3 teams. And RPR with 3 assists, not too bad for a start. Even getting off a couple of really good shots and connects with the flat line. But we're going to have to see how this goes and if they're actually going to be able to outlive this in a second.
Yeah, Scars are okay for now, but they really are in the open. I don't know if they try to... I don't know if the under the bridge is in. I don't think it is, actually. So I don't believe they can play this position either. So when they go up here, they're going to be feeling very, very nervous indeed about their situation. And we can see some concern on a potential rotation behind them as well. In the meantime, we've got some scouting. with the crypto drones as per usual. And especially like one of the big problems with these crypto drones is when it's time to rotate into a new position, if you've got half shields because of this crypto spam, then that really makes things even worse for you.
Honestly, and that crypto EMP coming out into play, unfortunately, might have been in vain, giving the other team a chance to actually just heal up on shields, which that could have been better. They could have pushed, but then again, it was really tricky considering they were all bunched up inside the truck. And that's the issue we had a few games back. A lot of players, especially Scars, complaining about the trucks. And like I said before, you can get stuck in them. It can be bad, or you can hold that truck down. It is going to be good for you, not for the other team. And that's going to be controversial in the coming days. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I really want to keep half an eye on Scars in this coming situation because there are 15 seconds and this situation's going to escalate real quick. There are 17 squads. Just look on that radar. How much rock is in that ring? There's only so many places these teams could go. I'm calling 13 squads in 60 seconds.
Oh, I'm calling 10. 10 immediately off the bat. And it looks like Scars is rotating here with the Valkyrie. However, I'm a little worried about Taishin taking some damage to shields and everyone in the lobby just trying to shoot them down. Fortunately for Scars, does not work. They're still alive. They're still in the game, but they are about to run into a whole mess of trouble in a second.
They really don't have a whole lot of cover here. Although teams above might expose themselves trying to shoot them. That forklift truck will be very, very handy indeed. And I think they were always expecting to have to land on the low ground underneath something because there's no way above it's going to be unoccupied. They've got problems nearby as well. They're trying to hide on the bridge. They've got players on either side of them on the low ground. As again, there just isn't that much real estate. The domes had to be used now for Zeta as batteries are required. See that this is the Loba team now. I don't think they'll be looting anytime soon. It's just about trying to stay alive. That grenade didn't go the right way, and there are more grenades. Hostile grenades coming
Zeta
through
Division,
as well.
that grenade just bouncing off of the wall entirely was not a good hit for Taskmaster, and trying to heal up with the Phoenix kit. Unfortunately, they're out in the open. Is that Arcstar gonna hit? And it does. The DMC now with the Arcstar. They are trapped. It is not looking good for Sardell right now. Just completely surrounded by so many teams trying to take the Wraith portal out of there. And whoa, this is getting intense for GMT.
They rescue all those players. That was a very cheeky portal, but somehow they've got out for now. I think I see a box actually, so maybe that Wraith is a goner. I see two purple boxes there. So we shall see Scars still staying alive on the low grounds. Again, there were teams on either side of them. A portal for some skirmishes, and they've maybe created some space for themselves. I don't know if you go for that care package because it really is in the open, but if you're feeling it, they could dome and try and collect it. They've used the portal, I do believe.
That care package could have anything. It could have a med kit, it could have shield cells, or it could even have a Kraber, a G7 Scout. Who knows? And I think Scars is actually going to try to push for it. And over the Phoenix Legacy, hiding in the caustic gas at the moment, trying to heal as best as they can. Scars trying to see if they can pick off anyone. Does 38 damage to shields, not enough to crack. And I believe they're able to stand off. 47 to flash, and Taishin Downing deserved it. James, it's the Spitfire.
I think this is Ash's favorite weapon, and that is exactly what Scars were looking for. They are clearing out this lower area, and more teams are rotating in. More people offering themselves up for sacrifice. And if Scars get a chance, they'll roll their heads down the Aztec stairs.
When it looks like RPR managed to narrowly avoid an EMP, might have still got damage to shields. All planned coming in for the third party here with the Thermite grenades, with the Arc Stars. It is not enough. However, they may be actually able to trap a team here. And there goes Navi in the kill. Yikes. And down by Mandy as well.
They had absolutely nowhere to go. They were getting wrecked by the Thermites. They were just going behind a steel support downstairs, and that was it. And again, when you're a big boy like Gibby, that's not going to be enough. And now we've got, is this a hot drop from 69 IQ? They've got to avoid the bombardment though, and they may be able to do that. Gambit now trying to reroute and move into a better position as Hardeki makes a portal. Did he need to go straight back into that? Maybe.
Yeah, it is not looking good for Hardeki right now. Definitely taking some damage from the aerial bombardment. But we've got 3, maybe even 4 teams all on top of each other. You have Gambit, you have a few others, and this is going to be an interesting play if Hardeki can manage to get off the heel, which he does. Scars Europe still in it. That Spitfire doing some damage to the other teams here. God, I love this weapon so much, James. You would not believe, and for good reason.
Got so many bullets left as well, and they've been putting in work here. 4 assists for RPR. Just looking around, where does he go? He's got Arc Stars flying his way. The domes had to be used now. think his Q came a little late there, as I think there was some safety in the dome, unless a grenade made it through. I'm not quite sure. Either way, he is up, and they're trying to freshen up Scars on this low ground. Heal up and get back to max health once again.
Oh, uh-oh, looks like RPR almost went down there, actually using the tactical in a smart play to avoid a lot of those arc stars and the missile bombardments. And Gambit hiding behind a corner here. I think they're almost... Oh, no. Hardaki Antarctico down. It is just one left in Leogri. I don't know if they're actually able to survive this. They are getting pushed very hard. He's going to have to pull back here to actually... Oh, no.
Great shields as well.
Perfect.
Great shields trying to cover for Gambit and keep their last spine up. And again, Scars, you know, we've had to use a lot of shields recently, but they're still alive. And Gambit were briefly, but out of the air, they have been swiped by 69 IQ with that hot rotation earlier on, who seem to be doing okay for the time being. We move down to 9 squads now, and that ring's about to start moving. Look at the size of that gray ring. This is going to be a massacre.
And I know with 9 squads left and Gambit down, another disappointing finish. Really sad to see. Hopefully they get it right. Hopefully next time, if there even is a next time for them. And it looks like 69 IQ with the 200 IQ plays right now, surviving, including Scar Europe, however, being in the center of this. Mandy goes down. RPR, one of the anti-Sheen need last 2 alive. It's very tricky. RPR is down, and there goes Scars Europe.
Blind Totem trying to loot up and shield swap as fast as possible, and it might be about the shield swaps now with how fast this action's moving. And in the meantime, while this is all happening, I think 69 IQ are probably just creeping around the edge. They had the high ground. Let's see the France get deleted now as all plans start to put in some work.
And this is interesting. All plans came really out of nowhere. Some of the teams we were expecting to win. Future Perfect, Scars Europe just completely deleted from the lobby. You've got a Crypto, a Gibraltar, and a Valkyrie. This is going to be an interesting play for sure. And with 7 squads left and how close that ring is getting, it is going to be an absolute carnage in just a few seconds, really, even maybe a few minutes.
69 IQ, they still have the high ground. We've got to keep an eye on this situation. This is very favorable for them. All the guys downstairs, like Lemmings, going to have to fight each other for survival. They can just chill on the high ground. If you're not up, there's no way anyone's climbing up, I don't feel like, in this situation. So they've got boxes as well to replenish spots to get grenades and such. Got all plans trying to stay alive with this Mastiff now for dear life. But that Q could be absolutely brutal. Not going to hit the Crypto, who's still alive for the time being. Popping the bat just in time, looking for the thirst now. Up close and personal, point-blank range for the Mastiff, but down he goes.
And somehow all plan managing to survive for this long, but 69 IQ surrounded by death boxes, meaning plenty of shield swaps. They're going to get plenty of kills in this situation. However, if I were K20, I would be very careful. Shields are looking very low, and I would pull back and heal up if I were him.
Yeah, the new man for the team having another successful game as we're down to the last 4 squads, and Slayers will have their wingman out now. Who knows what box that came from? Maybe Hardeki looking some barrels to create some space as well. And with the wingman, he's able to drop some bullets for his teammate because, again, it's just 1 shot, so he will be fine with the 60. Still with the high ground, and they've got the caustic gas in the hole. Mr. Nox with the Nox, just waiting for the right time to drop it.
God, that Nox grenade is about to come in clutch in just a few seconds. That wingman, though, you know how to time your shots right. Gonna do a lot of damage. Really, Slayers can just toss that in, push, and it's gonna be a lot... That's gonna be a lot of kills for 69 IQ right now. That grenade stacking up on so many damage. However, they're gonna try and be careful here as they don't want to get out too early. With 4 squads left, you're gonna want to at least try and make top 3, even top 2.
Yeah, they know that there is a team hold up to their right-hand side. They're just waiting for them. And there goes the gas, which is surely going to have to force them forward. They're going to be able to fall back for the time being. They did switch a gold helmet to their Jibby as well, which was on the caustic, I believe, for the barrels. But there's plenty of space, actually, for this squad. And again, the low ground is the no ground as far as 69 IQ are concerned. That the dome is through now as we have the bombardment, but they're going to have to come out of this building eventually, and 69 IQ are just waiting for them. In the meantime, where is the 30? Are they ratting downstairs or something? Smegito trying to avoid what he can. He's got the gold armor, looking for the fallback. Down goes Slayers. Swinny's still up for the time being, able to pop the bat in the gas now, and this is going to get even more dangerous. Dead inside, forced outside. The Mastiff is in control as well.
Here comes Dead inside. It looks like it's them versus 69 IQ. However, Slayers is just completely taken out by the Thermite. Dead inside. I'm surprised they made it this far. Going in for the kill. Smokito is the only one left on 69 IQ and is out. Wiped out completely. And Dead inside managing to take match 6 in an instant. My goodness.
Two teams with the high ground, Dead Inside and 69 IQ. They tried to force him out with the gas, but they still had room in the back and came out at the very last time. And I think Clean were trying to wrap there because there wasn't much action that we saw from the remaining player, but it wasn't enough. And Dead Inside will take the 6th and final game of the day.
I was gonna say, for a lot of the teams in there, and especially Scars Europe, I'm gonna say this flex tape can't fix that. That was an insane final circle. Dead Inside managing to come in top ranked with 12 placement points, 8 kills. My gosh, that was so exciting to watch. But James, you were right. That final circle turned into an absolute slaughterhouse, but it was so exciting to watch.
Yeah, and it was a great last circle for Dead Inside as well because they've been dropping Dome each game, so they basically went next door. But credit to them, they held that room for pretty much, I would assume, the entire time, or the majority of the time. We saw some big pressure from some teams on the side. I forget who it was with the charge rifle who was trying to push. I think it was Guild's team actually through the blast doors. Able, I mean, that was kind of awkward for them. Able to hold them off, keep that position, that real estate. That was so clutch for them. But props to 69 IQ as well. Had that hot drop with the Valkyrie coming through. Had to dodge a defensive bombardment. Had the Gambit eventually around the corner as well. Able to deal with all of that and coming in 3rd place with 7 kills.
Honestly, for 69 IQ and All Playing, those are two teams I personally was not expecting to make it the top placement, but they did it anyway, defied expectations, and my goodness, Dead Inside coming in with so much, especially Faizu's caustic gas tanks and that Nox grenade, aerial bombardments especially, plenty of rotation, and whew, they held that onto like 200 IQ skills pretty much, and even avoiding death, but whew, or Dead Inside, but yeah. My gosh, I'm just so, well, pretty much hyped up and so exhausted. I'm misplacing names here. My apologies. But, woo!
That was
awesome
yeah, I mean, it's a great combination here for area control, you know, with the barrels for buildings, with the defensive bombardment as well, and of course the dome was pretty clutch. We saw some domes being broken late on with crypto ults, and that has got to be a scary situation. You get your dome and it's just gone in like 1 second. Like, that's just not the situation you're expecting. Lots of people popping bats and such in domes as well, so to suddenly find yourself without a ceiling is a less than ideal situation. And that shows the power of that high ground, that 69 IQ were able to hold on the outside and Dead Inside on the inside, but alive, in fact.
Oh, Dead Inside. Honestly, this just proves that when it comes to Crypto and Caustic, those are two characters or legends, right? You do not want to mess with. In casual Apex, of course, you're not going to see them that often, but when it comes to Pro, the ALGS, oh, you better watch out. Crypto especially proving useful, and I'm hoping if we ever move the Storm Point and people manage to figure out that Crypto can aggro Prowlers and distract other players with them, that's going to be interesting to watch.
Monsieur Fallout, you must be a fan of Caustic, surely. Join me.
Oh, yes. I love Caustic so much. Thanks,
Stop
James.
talking about.
Nerf Caustic. Nerf him.
I am a fan of Stormpoint, though. I'd love to see Stormpoint's competitive Apex action. But no, jokes aside, great game number 6, and what a day of action it was. Congratulations to Dead Inside. They end up with a bang. They needed that, right? They needed at least a few points. They needed a first-place finish. That's going to maybe sneak them within the top 10 for the day. But I think the big story for me in Game 6, well, it was 69 IQ. Roster change, picks up K Swinney from underrated with a little bit of a roster swap there. And as a result, I'm excited to see what K Swinney and the 69 IQ team can continue to do as they progress throughout the rest of the Pro League. They got a lot of work to do because they're pretty far behind in the overall standings, but this is a good start for them. Ash, what do you think?
Well, honestly, it was a very good start, especially when it came to Case, when he getting so many kills, getting so many, well, pretty much a good lobby placement, right? And this match was just so entirely intense. Of course, you could see me praying for the Spitfire to come out. It did change the game for a lot of people in the lobby, just swapping in between teams. And my gosh, this was very interesting to watch, especially when it came to a lot of the placements in the high ground area. Like, pretty much proved that Dead Inside, of course, they did have the high ground, and that paid off in the end as well. But when it came to 69 IQ, unfortunately, did not get the #1 placement they wanted. However, did get top 2, top 3, and really, that is all that matters when it comes to the ALGS right now. It's about that placement.
Yeah, consistent top 5s will get you there, especially if you can do it the rest of the way through. So congrats to 69 IQ. Meanwhile, Dead Inside, as mentioned, did need a big game here, and they're going to find it. Late game was all Dead Inside all day. James, any final thoughts you have in that game number 6 before we take a look at the standings?
One final thought is it's just such a weird team name to think about, like, just commentate Dead Inside.
Sounds pretty emo.
It is kind of emo, yeah, but they definitely will surely be feeling alive taking the last game of the day. So that was pretty good. But I think there's certainly something to be said for. Some teams do it the hard way, like, you know, we talk about like the going deep and so on, but looking at like Gambit's performance, where they went missing almost every other game, but they still had a pretty reasonable overall performance, I think is not easy to do. Like, you got to have the skill to do that. It's not ideal either, but, you know, sometimes you got to make chicken salad out of chicken something else.
Yeah, that's right. Nice shot from Gambit. That should do a good job to put them back in first place in the overall standings for today. We'll see. But let's take a look at the day standings of Groups A versus Group D. Future Perfect with 69 points, dominating in first place. Back-to-back wins in games 4 and 5 certainly helped them. Reply Totem, the Italian esports org, and 2 Italians on that squad. They're going to get second place with 53. Gambit right behind them in third place overall. And then that's the 69 IQ roster I mentioned in fourth. And to round out our top 5 is Clean, a team that's been really quietly performing very, very well in this Pro League. Solid games. Haven't necessarily had that breakout game yet, but G Dolphin, former coach of TSM, playing alongside Nags and Unlucky, looking really, really strong here. Ash, what else stands out to you?
Well, what really stands out when it comes to Scars, right? Definitely came in clutch multiple times, and that was pretty interesting to watch. However, Na'Vi, though, 17 with 14 points on the leaderboard. That's gonna be tricky to get by. But Clean, actually, and a few other people, especially Gambit in third, which is not too bad. Not exactly where they wanted to be, but Big Bam, that was honestly pretty cool to watch, but down by 4 placement points. A lot of teams you were expecting it to make number 1, and a lot of teams you weren't expecting to make it into the top 3 alone, just sitting at the top right now.
Yeah, that's a great point. And a lot of teams you expect to perform, right? GMT, Na'Vi, Guild Esports in 13th place. Didn't necessarily have the best day today, but hat goes off to Future Perfect Reply Totem. They stepped up when the other teams perhaps stepped down. They played incredibly well, and kudos to them. Let's see what that's going to do for them in the overall standings. Gambit back on top, the Kings of EMEA. Back to the first spot in their rightful spot on the top of the throne. Maestro CIS squad right behind them. Top 2, both CIS, Eastern Europe, former Soviet Union. So great job from them. Kick Esports in third place. A monstrous Friday and has been looking really, really strong as of late. IG International in fourth overall as, of course, the squad that's been the rising stars of this season, in my opinion. But again, top 10, those green boxes, that means they will qualify for the playoffs. And look, right at the bottom of that is going to be Future Perfect, who breaks into the top 10, James.
Yeah, I'm looking at GMT. They didn't have a very good performance today. I didn't get to say man like Badoli a single time, which is very disappointing. But if we look at 8th place Alliance and we look at 13th place Top Dogs, there's only 3 points between these squads. So it's very, very tight in the middle, and there's a lot of potential in these final days to come for these teams to switch around. So I would be very, very careful about what I'm doing if I'm in that region.
Yep. And on the flip side, the bottom 8 teams in Pro League standings by the end of our overall Pro League will be relegated and have to re-qualify against Challenger Circuit teams for Split 2. So keep a close eye on that. We got Dead Inside there. It was the biggest surprise was Rebel in that list going into this week. Well, they performed. They made it to their front page here. So kudos to them. Solo Q Goats nearing that area, so they gotta really dig deep. Step up these last few weeks if they want to avoid relegation and having to play against Challenger Circuit teams. And that's one thing I love about this format. Any team, any open team can work their way, grind their way to the top. That aspiration is certainly there. And speaking of which, there's always an aspiration to try and be the best player in any lobby. And let's go ahead and talk about who y'all think were the best players of this lobby today for our Monster MVP segment. With you, who in your eyes performed the best today?
Okay, so what stood out to me was Future Perfect's performances, and I picked Ossus out of Future Perfect. And this was before they came in for their second W, because you could see from the table, like, we didn't necessarily see all the action, but we could see from the table that even when they weren't winning the game, they were still putting in a significant amount of kills, and they were keeping their team in the right place and keeping themselves towards the upper echelon of the table. So with those wins on top, obviously that was huge for them to come out with a big W today, but just keeping that level of consistency and just delivering time and time again was really important for Future Perfect. And of course the whole team were really important for that, but Ossus, I think, may have got more kills than anybody else on the squad, so had to give him his props for that one.
The debut of Ashe. Oz playing incredibly well on Ashe. I've been loving seeing some Ashe in the Legend meta so far. Ashe, speaking of which, how about you, Azurvok? Who in your eyes played the best today?
Comes to my who played the best today. Controversial pick. I'm definitely going to have to go with RPR from Scars Europe. Definitely racking in a lot of kills this couple matches, a lot of assists, especially I believe this was either match 3 or 4 in that final circle. Very tricky. Coming in with a third party, getting a bunch of kills, especially with the crypto EMP from a lot of other players. And it really came in handy for RPR. Even the gold shield on Wraith, which as someone who plays casual Apex and tries a little bit of ranked, was not expecting personally. But with RPR, came in with so many outplays, pretty long survival time, and let us not forget the 2 times on the wingman.
Making it look easy when it certainly is not. That's what these players. Watching any pro player on Wingman is actually insane. It makes me feel very sad about my diamond level gameplay in Apex Legends as we're watching RPR right there. And yeah, I like that pick. You know, maybe they didn't perform top 7, top 5 as a team, but RPR played out of his mind as the IGL and Wraith player of this squad. So kudos to RPR overall. And speaking of overall, let's take a look at the overall kills leaderboard to see who performed the best in terms of stats. Phoenix in 18th place, or sorry, in first place with 18 kills of 4 gang and 7 Oz. You mentioned it right after that with 17 kills. Look at that, 2 players leading the pack here, James.
Yeah, absolutely, by quite a reasonable margin. But even with the lower kills, people like Case Winnie, we could see how important his kills were, and he definitely stood out. But definitely, Finex and Ozus were putting in work today, and it paid off for sure.
Yeah, look, it's so awesome to see how many different countries represent in the Apex Legends Global Series. You see Sharp, lone Italian, 15th place with 8 kills. Sir Dell doing a good job holding it down for the UK alongside Leifen with 9 kills and 8 kills respectively. So kudos to them. Kudos to everybody in their top 20 in the overall kills. And again, Phoenix and 7 Oz leading the way with 18 and 17 respectively. A monstrous performance from both of them. So that is going to be, for the day, your Monster MVP. Shout out and thank you once again to Monster Energy, our partner here at the ALGS, as we get ready to wrap up the day so far. However, great action. Guess what? We got ourselves an interview going to be coming here in just a moment. Before we jump into that interview, though, I want to ask you, James, you had a chance to cast 3 games here. You had a chance to watch the action today in your home turf on EMEA. What stood out to you the most? What are some of the highlights for you today?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I think just like some of these rings were just really, really wild. It was nice to see a better spread and we saw more northern rings, but just some of the finishes, especially when we saw those northern rings, was just absolutely crazy. Big open spaces with a few rocks to hide behind, and just all the action and like not being able to really pop a bat, but having to go for kills just to get shield swaps because you didn't have the time for the bat. I think that was really interesting, and it was really cool to see who could survive in a situation like that and who didn't.
Ash, I'm going to ask you the same question. Your first time on broadcast. You killed it, by the way, my friend. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
What was your highlight today?
Well, honestly, my highlight for today, it would definitely have to be the final circle in between, who is it? Future Perfect, I believe, and the last person being either Forg or Scars, which did not expect Scars to go out that early in the match, but Future Perfect coming in with a couple of crypto EMPs, and that definitely held down the lobby for them. And then he just had 13 shots left on the R301, which was just absolutely sad to watch. Here I am hoping and praying they would have made it out with the PK. Fortunately, did not. And that was pretty epic.
Yeah. Well, again, you killed it in your first day. Thanks so much, Ash. And I just got word that we do officially have our interview ready. It is going to be my man Rain Day live with Reply Totem's Jay Savage, the Frenchman himself. Rain Day, take it away.
Thank you so much, Fallout. We are here with the man, the myth, the legend, Johan. Give me 1 second here. I'm muted. Here we are.
Yep, I can
with
hear you
Johan Mobrenic. Johan's like, yo, what's going on, man? Jay
hello.
Savage, better known is your Apex alias. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time with us. I have a few questions for you, but congrats on the day. You guys played amazing. I'm sure you're feeling good heading into what is going to be next. But I want to talk about how you got here. You started out the day with 6 points overall. You were in 23rd. You were outside of the top 20, not in the top 10. You know, as far as the team, talking to Amaz and Sharp, what was your thought process going in today? What did you have to do in this tournament to make sure you guys had a chance to break that top
10? I mean, we had a rough start of the Pro League. So like you said, we're like mid leaderboard right now. So we knew that that we had to like pop out a big game today, like a big day with a lot of points. And we worked hard during those 3 weeks of break, and yeah, it worked out for us today.
It definitely did. And the 3 weeks, I'm pretty sure that they changed the dynamic for a couple of teams who had momentum. You mentioned you didn't have momentum. I want to talk about today, though, because there were a little bit of ups and downs. You guys closed it out with some really strong performances to get second, 53 points. What was your biggest challenge today? This lobby was filled with a lot of different choices of legend plays, a lot of different circles, some similar circles, a lot of south circles and thermal and lava fissure. So what was the biggest challenge today in terms of getting a result?
I think the biggest challenge for us was like the 3 games, like not the first games, but like the 3 games ending around countdown and landslide, which well, we spawn in launch side, so it's kind of mid-north zone for us. So it was kind of hard rotates, but we managed to handle our fights pretty well and get a lot of KP out of it and get placements on top. So yeah, that worked out pretty well.
So it's kind of the perfect scenario, right? You come out, you're not really warmed up in terms of the first few weeks, but this week you have a blazing start, 53 points. You are now 11th. You are right outside of the top 10. The only team that was a bigger mover today as far as the standings is Future Perfect. How do you feel going into it knowing that you did it, but also outside of that top 10, how are you feeling knowing you still have a little bit more work to do?
I mean, I'm pretty happy about the result, obviously, but I'm not getting too excited because we still have like two weekends to play and we still have a lot to do. So, yeah, just focused on the next weeks.
It's a great competitor who talks about it like that. Head down till the job's done. Job's not finished, as we like to say over in LA. And of course, as LeBron fans, myself, I want to just ask for viewers out there. There's a lot of different lineups. We talk about Loba being different in EMEA that's not run in North America. A lineup we do see you guys run is Gibraltar, the Valkyrie, and the Wraith. Obviously, you on the Valkyrie. Can you give us a little bit of insight as to why you guys like that lineup for people watching at home and why this is what you're choosing to go at this lobby with?
We started first week of Pro League with Loba actually instead of Race, but we kind of lacked of aggression with it, so that's why we picked the Race, and then Valkyrie to rotate easier and faster early game, and then Gibraltar obviously is pretty much the best pick right now in comp because he's really good in every stage of the games. So yeah, that's why.
All right, well, Johan, thank you so much for spending time with us. That's Jay Savage on the side of Reply Totem. These guys had an incredible performance today. They're 11th, trying to break into the top 10. We'll see if they can continue to perform this well. Let's send it back to John to close us out.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rain Data. Thank you again to Jay Savage for joining us, the French-Dutch player for Reply Totem. Big day for them. They get second place, a much-needed performance for them, sneaking into the top 10 overall. So kudos to this squad. They've been doing it at a top level in EMEA for a long time, ever since the early summer circuit. So, again, props to them. Overall, your thoughts, James, on their performance, Reply Totem?
I think they're a team who, over the weeks, have often gone under the radar, and I think they're certainly a team who have proved that we need to pay more attention to them and definitely give them more camera time so we can see how it is that they're getting these results.
Yeah, Reply Totem performing at a top level today. A big game and a big win for them. And then I want to take a chance to move on to our talent predictions. We got to circle back real quick because I guess we
I'm pretty sure I had the best prediction today.
Well, yeah, clearly you did.
Oh, yeah, same here.
We all won or we all lost. I don't know. How are we looking at that, Ash? Half glass full or empty?
Definitely half glass full, I guess. Literally, this was a whole bingo card where everyone predicted Gambit Esports. Not exactly the best couple of matches. However, they did get third placement at the end of match 6. So you know what? That wasn't too bad for them, but still a pretty rough start.
Yeah, solid predictions. Go ahead, James.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think, like, you can see why we picked them if you look at the results they had. They got a big fat 0 in Game 2 and Game 4 and still finished high with what they were able to do in the other games. And that's why Gambit are always a dangerous team and capable of getting a good result. Even if they don't win, they're going to kill a lot of people and stop them from winning as well. So I think they showed, even in their having to come back from those horrible 2 games, why we picked them in the first place.
Yeah, that's right. Even when they're not performing, their highs are so high that the games where they do perform, they put monstrous points up. So kudos to Gambit. They get third place with 50 points overall. And obviously, as we're wrapping up here in EMEA's broadcast, we still got our North America broadcast. A quick reminder there, 6 p.m. Eastern, our North America broadcast will be kicking off. We'll have the same crew, but our North American action, watch TSM with all the drama that's been surrounding that team. Will they be able to repeat their solid performance from last time we had an ALGS NA broadcast a few weeks ago, as we get to watch TSM, Cloud9, and so many other squads, Team Liquid, and many others compete in our North America broadcast momentarily. And if you're not already following us on Twitter, make sure to do so at Play Apex Esports, brand new esports account ran by Miss Nixie, the esports community manager herself. Big shot to Nixie. And of course, Follow and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Play Apex Esports, and of course, Twitch TV/Play Apex for all broadcasts alongside our 4K broadcasts on YouTube. And as we get ready to wrap up here, I want to throw to y'all for some final thoughts. Ash, again, congrats on your first day, your first broadcast, my friend. We'll see you back on the EMEA broadcast. But any final words, any final shots for you?
Any final words at the moment? Nerf Caustic. That's all I'm saying.
That's all she has to say.
But yeah, that's all I gotta say. I'm good.
James, how about you, my friend?
I was going to say buff caustic. I was going to say buff caustic in the chat. That's literally what I was going to say. Maybe I'm becoming predictable, but there we go. Quite the opposite here. This little screen is better than that little screen. Let's put it that way. Is it that way? It's that way. It's that way.
It's hilarious.
Buff caustic. This is the buff caustic corner.
Nerf Caustic buff fuse immediately. Thank you.
All right, done. Respawn devs are watching. They'll make it happen. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching our EMEA broadcast. Congratulations again to Future Perfect for a dominant day alongside 69 AQ. We also had Gambit, so many other teams that performed so incredibly well. We'll be back for our NA broadcast in just an hour and a half, so get your popcorn, get some food, and we'll see you back in an hour and a half.